Yeah, this weekend's not good for me. I have to work on my script.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing good. And I hope your Monday morning is doing good, or Tuesday afternoon if you're like in UK. Oh, sorry for that. Or, wherever you are. Well, probably it's not like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, whereas UK. It's probably only a couple hours ahead of us, right? And it's probably like, if you live across the other side of the world, probably like 5 o'clock in the morning. Or PM, my bad. I'm a little tired. I've been up for the last couple hours. I actually woke up pretty early. I was able to get some stuff done and clean to get my day generally started. Drinking a nice bit of lukewarm black coffee, just the way I like to. I'm doing good, Christian. I am doing pretty good. Again, I just woke up, so I'm trying to get myself started. Drinking some coffee. Uh, kind of enjoying, kind of, kind of ready to get my day started. This weekend was a little busy, right? Funny enough, I had a bit of a busy weekend. I had two birthdays back to back. I had a friend's birthday yesterday. Kind of went over because she was going through a lot and she was depressed and a bunch of number of factors. So I decided at the good friend because I've known her for years, and I went over and just celebrated her birthday. Her kids were there. Stayed there for a couple hours and I left. Cause she's been there. She's been there for a lot for me over the years. So out of respect, I should have. I went over, right? Cause she originally had a party, but she canceled it. So I was like, all right, well, how about just I just told her, hey, are you up? Are you at your house? What you doing? She told me she was. Went over, and clearly she was like depressed. She was very clearly depressed. So went there as a way to cheer her up. Birthdays are tough. Birthdays can be very tough because Saturday was one of my siblings' birthday. So, and that was a very big thing. Everybody was having fun. And then, the day after, yesterday technically was my friend's birthday who was going through a lot. So, birthdays can be tough for a lot of people. I know for a fact birthdays are. I generally don't even like my own birthday, but I still celebrate it with my family because it's how it is, especially with my mom. My mom is very much uh, cares a lot about me, and so she does what she can for my birthday, right? Because like last year, I didn't want a birthday, but she still didn't throw me a party, but she took me out and everything. So birthdays can be tough. Again, birthdays can be very tough for a lot of people, especially if they're going through something tough and they're depressed. The best thing you can do is just go to them and just cheer them up. Spend a couple hours, even if you're just there chilling and talking, you're not drinking, and you're just interacting or playing a board game or whatever. Yeah, it was a pretty busy week. I know technically I have another birthday to go to today in the afternoon. So good thing I'm being a full-time need for a little bit. So that's really good on my end. It's just gonna be uh January's tough. Uh Early January is tough for me because it's birthday after birthday after birthday. So I generally just go through it, right? It's like it's my mom's birthday, then it's my brother's birthday, and then it's my friend's birthday, and I think I have another friend's birthday on top of that. So it's just like, so I'd say actually December into late December to early January, it's just birthday after birthday after birthday. So I'm always kind of busy around the time of year, and I like to, even though like I want to relax more at the beginning of the year and end of the year, it's very busy. It's a very busy time of the year for me. I wish I knew. I am like an October baby. So for me, everything is more said. Like I'm more in October, and all my other friends, their birthdays are scattered throughout the year, so I don't gotta worry. But I've always been around people who are born in January, and it's like I think I actually have another birthday coming up in another couple. Wait, actually, I forgot it was also my cousin's birthday. I think Friday. So it was just one thing after the others. It's just one thing after the other. I think I have another birthday this month. I'm not sure. I gotta check, but I think I have another two birthdays, maybe another one this month. So it's just gonna be uh rough on me. It's gonna be kind of like, damn it. But again, right now I'm a full time need. So it's not a problem. It's not like, all right, I gotta go to work, then I gotta go to his birthday, or I gotta wait in the end of the week to do celebrate his birthday. It's like more like, eh, cool birthdays. It's like, all right, now I'm more like, yeah, it's been a week. I know it's also been another busy week for other people who watch like locale stuff and all that fun stuff. It's been pretty busy on that. I know in the next, I think it's what, next couple days, we have the whole thing with Trump getting into office, so that's gonna be busy. There's a lot of things going on this time of year. January can be very busy. A lot of things to cover, a lot of things to do. But that's what this morning stream is about. It's really more about chilling and relaxing before we get into the main topic, which is we're getting into what if history. We're getting back into him. Kino Casino made a they made a video. They got the live stream. Uh, what if history. I'm a November baby, so I always have a whole year to focus on my self growth and development as an engineer. Oh my god, yeah, that would be rough. I'm in October, so it gives me the advantage of like I have a couple months, damn it, before I turn old again, or I feel like the encroachment of being old hits me. It's rough. It's very rough because where I live, it gets cold it gets kind of cold a lot where I live, and especially around October, it's like a mixed bag between kind of warm and kind of cold. But I like it here anyway because I like the colors, I like the general aesthetic where I live. So it's a great feeling. To me, it's a great feeling. Mm, some good coffee. But as I was saying, we will be going into Kino Casino and their take on what if history. Um, for anybody who doesn't know or hasn't been paying attention or haven't watched any of my videos or haven't seen me cover What If History is a guy who did alternate history kind of stuff. Back in the day when it was kind of becoming popular, over a set period of time, he moved away from it and started to focus more and more on real life politics, geopolitics, things like civilization. He focused on more of that stuff. He actually went to college, and I thought I before I go further, I thought he was around my age. I thought he was 28, right? I thought he was 28 or he's just hitting 30. In reality, oops, sorry. In reality, he's actually younger than me by a couple years. He's like 21. I think he's either 21 or 22, which is uh insane to me, right? And he is pretty and then he is successful, right? Regardless of my personal opinion, regardless of what other people say, he is successful. He is up there, and I'm not gonna take that away from him. Especially given that he has a very, very rough past. For me to do that to him would be just unfair, right? Even though I will still criticize his political opinion, which is the normal thing, right? Or his social opinions, I'll criticize him on that much. I won't take away the success he has gained. And it is funny for him to move from what ifs to, obviously politics and social stuff. Um, what I actually do agree on some things, and other things it's debatable if I do or I don't. The fact that Kino Casino did a whole live stream on him is, depending on the live stream, I either may not like it or really like it. Because I feel like when you're talking about a guy like this, you need to dig in. You have to dig in and watch the stuff over a period of time. Because when he moved away from alternate history stuff, I found that really weird. Oh, not that it was weird. That's something I see a lot. A lot of alt history people will eventually move away from it and focus on more political stuff. Or people who do maps will do that, right? It's just something that's gonna happen. But it was just more funny that his opinion on things were, I guess, to the average or leftist person, it's radical. To me, I'm like, I've known about this stuff for like since 2016, 2018, depending on the info, maybe 2020. And again, he's younger than me, so he witnessed the rise of people like Nick Fuentes, who is close, like 2 or 3 years younger than me, who I'm not a big fan of to begin with, but that's not here or there. But as I said, depending on what they say or what they do, I may not like it, or I may like it, or just be more like, So we're gonna watch. We may watch the whole thing, but it may be kind of a long stream. Depending. It may be a long stream today. Maybe we'll do 2 hours, or depending how long it is, we may do 3 hours. It's gonna be a hoot. Let's go watch this. Let's go watch this. This was a breakdown trailer. So from what I understand, it looks like a Slovo podcast or Slovo podcast. If you don't know who Slovo is, who this guy is exactly, Slovo podcast is actually owned by Ubersoy. Ubersoy is a Quebecian. I think he's a Canadian Quebecian Quabazar, I believe, or however you pronounce it. Who does political stuff, social stuff. He created a manifesto. It's a right wing progressive. I'll let you be the judge of that one. I'll let you decide on what the hell that means exactly. I kind of know what he means. I kind of know what that exactly means offhand, but I'm not really here to talk about that. Right. But yeah, Slovo podcast is owned by a guy named Ubersoy. Ubersoy is an interesting fella. Uh, I've spoken with him a little bit, not a lot, but I know other people who have direct content with who have spoken to him more than me, or have been moderators on his server, or or more than that, right? So for me, I know Ubersoy. I watch his videos. I think a lot of it's pretty good. I spoken to the guy just a little bit on the server we're both in. Um, and I know other people who can talk to him more directly or more freely, and who have told me a lot of stuff about him. So it's a pretty interesting thing. He's an interesting guy, but we're gonna get into it.
Everything in the story is 100% true. You have my word before God, my ancestors, and myself that it's all true. That will also make sense at the end.
Hope you guys can hear this.
The manifesto I wrote, the manifesto for the New Right, that was dictated to me by God. And God told me that I should integrate science, Christianity, and Darwinism into a single coherent theory. I've been regularly communicating with God about what he believes the future of the right philosophically should be, and this is what I'm about to feed you in this video
is the best attempt.
It's a little girl named Chan.
The reason sperm has been such an important part of this video.
An instant Aryan classic.
I had a profound sense of sexual inadequacy, which I realized was completely undeserved.
I killed your god. I killed your god because he never really existed. You made your society run under a false god since you were too weak to talk to a real one.
This is a discovery on the scale of Columbus reaching the New World.
I've changed so much since high school. I thought I was a fucking nerdy kid. I thought I was a weirdo and nerdy and a loser. And now here we are. I'm fucking talking to God, and I'm giving you a message.
Oversource latest documentary presents to you The Possessed. Oh my god, it's so good!
Rudyard has an incredibly rare genetic gift, which he cutely calls the radio tower. That Evola book freaked me out since there was lots of stuff in the Hermetic tradition, such as the way to attain the highest level of power is for a boy to be raped by his mother as a child.
Some of you might get demonically possessed or die, but if that wasn't the case, the game wouldn't be any fun.
I won because I said so. I'm not sure I'm completely correct, but I am completely sure that you are incorrect.
This young man is a hero among heroes. Your society has treated him like utter garbage. This is why your people are dying. You can judge the health of a people and a nation based off how they treat their heroes. If you are mean to this young man from now on, you are cursed. We will explain in the next segment what that means. Please have some respect.
Anyone, everyone, I will crush them all. Enemies, let me see. Now I will see you fall. Kings and gods may change the odds, but I'm the one who makes my final call. Better than any enemy.
Yeah. That kind of sums up everything. Yeah, I think that sums up everything about. It's very memey. It's a very memey trailer. Very memey. I would say that it's a very memey trailer.
Bola book free the
this is what I'm looking for.
He cutely calls the radio tower. That Evola book freaked me out since there was lots of stuff in the Hermetic tradition, such.
When he brought up Ebola like that, all I thought was, I'm shocked. You actually read Ebola and you actually liked it. I was very shocked, and the reason I say that is how can I say this? What If History is a very interesting fellow with his politics. I would consider him. I don't know if he still considers himself a neocon or a neoliberal. Like, he's admitted that he is like a neocon, American Empire, world police type of person. God, this is just a great still of that image. He's a very much America first in a very neocon, neoliberal sense, right? The current ideology. I'm not sure. I don't think he does hold to that anymore. I think he moved away from it for some extent. He still has a hate boner for Russia. He has like the biggest hate boner for Russia, which makes sense, right? If you're a person who holds to very neo-est beliefs, then Russia would be the antithesis to your belief. Even though I would say that maybe like China is more closely, or Iran, or even more like Iran. But yeah, no. What If History is very much anti-Russian, and I think he still is a big American Empire type of person. I'm gonna give this a like because it was pretty entertaining. But him reading Ebola, and he probably knows about Ebola. I think he's admitted that he likes Ebola. And again, for people who don't know who Julius Evola is, he was a member of the Italian Fascist Party. He's an Italian guy. He was a big influence within the general esoteric paganist mysticism within a lot of right wing spheres and circles. He wrote a couple books. One of them being Ride the Tiger and Man Among the Ruins. Julius Evola, it's controversial if you're not within those spheres, or if you're somebody who just doesn't like the general right wing perspective. So obviously, him reading it, even though I would say that he is right wing in a very liberal sense, he him reading a Vola is interesting because you would think he would not read it. You would think he would not go out of his way and enjoy Julius of Vola, but he did. But I think it was also fun, and he brings up the Hermetic tradition. If you don't know what Hermeticism is, um, it's been a long time since I've really spoken about Hermeticism. Hermeticism is a sort of a set of belief or structure of belief. I think it's very, I think it's Neoplatonism in nature. I would even say Gnosticism, where it had to do something with the gold, the emerald tablets, some Egyptian god, things about the innate of the spirit world. It's a very, I don't know offhand because it's been a very long time since I got into Hermeticism and those things. There's actually a YouTuber. I'm trying to remember his name. I think it's called the little book or the little creepy book. I think that's what his channel is called. He did a great video on Hermeticism and the traditional things about it. We will watch those videos because I think those are interesting. Those are interesting videos to watch. He goes into things like aliens, demons, and it's he's very underrated. I think that a lot of his content is not people don't watch a lot of it, and it's a shame because I do like it. It's been a while since I watched it, but I do like his stuff. The guy who runs that channel, actually, let me see if I can look him up real fast since I'm talking about him. If we take a small detour to him, I do apologize. This will probably be a longer stream. So he's an idiot. Who? What if history or the little creepy book guy I'm talking about? If we're talking about what if history, I ain't gonna hold it to you. I ain't gonna hold that to you. Did he change his channel? No, I don't think he did. If you're talking about what if history is an idiot, it's up to you. I have a lot of opinions on the guy, but I do sympathize with him. I do sympathize with what if history quite a bit, given that he had a rough, difficult life. But it also that life birthed him, and again, he is young. He has time. He has time to like fix his life and not do what he does. Oh, yeah, he changed his channel. He changed his channel. Channel? Why am I pronouncing things? Did he change his channel? Yeah, so all the stuff he used to make is gone. What the hell? Oh, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. What's up? That is hilarious. I think did he change his channel? Like, I'll shit. I'll shit. I think he doesn't do what he does anymore. We're gonna watch this video. This is the guy I was talking about. I don't know what happened to his video. Unless they're archived, if they are archived, we'll have to look them up at a later time. This is the guy I'm talking about. I guess he must have changed everything around. I have no clue what happened.
Whatever happened to the creepy little book? Well, here's the story in a nutshell. It started 10 years ago with an attempt to introduce topics of the fringe and unusual in an unconventional manner. Back then, it was very common to encounter videos concerning the UFO question, the paranormal, and cryptozoology that relied mostly on a formula of recycled clips and ominous music. Often, the dialogue of these videos was even computer generated text to speech, which in these days was crude and synthetic sounding. So the goal was simple: academically present these topics in a succinct and articulate manner without any kind of bias or attempt to influence opinion, merely showcasing the information for the evaluation of the viewer. Few of you may even recall that in the early days of the channel, the uploads featured a co host by the name of Elena.
Yep.
Over the following years, many topics were addressed, extraterrestrial and spiritual, social and political. But as the information landscape began to change around the year 2016, censorship crackdowns had a tremendous impact on any creator who might be a threat to the established media narratives. Many channels were deleted and silenced altogether, and those that were left were shadow banned and saw their viewership and follower counts decimated. And some mistakes were made. Unpopular content that might not have resonated with a core audience perhaps lasted stubbornly too long. Inconsistency and burnout became an issue, as well as the content shifting from short form informational videos towards long form live streaming. Meanwhile, the platform wasn't playing fair with the algorithm, and fringe content the channel was known for wasn't being shown to the intended audience, but rather a quick search at that time revealed it was being curated with Halloween content created for children. And finding that after some time in this environment and with the loss of the core audience, a desperate rebrand was attempted with the intention of refreshing everything about the channel on both the front and back end. An attempt to break the stranglehold of the shadow ban with a new name and new metadata. But alas, at this point, the channel was largely dead and eventually went completely silent. And that's kind of how the story goes sometimes, folks. But listen, I've got more stories to tell. So if you're curious, consider subscribing, and I'll see you real soon.
So I guess it's the same. I guess he's probably trying to say that he, obviously due to the way YouTube is as it is now. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. That makes sense now that he moved away from all that stuff, because obviously YouTube favors a certain set of videos and certain set of things, which makes sense. But it is a shame that he is gone, right? A lot of his stuff were things I really did enjoy, and that got me into that whole sphere of the world. That very much, how can I explain? The world of, like, I wouldn't say conspiracy, but of esoteric knowledge, right? Now, obviously, when I mean esoteric knowledge, I mean knowledge that is not spoken or is known, right? Not saying, and when I mean, that's what I'm implying. Not esoteric in the mysticism or or some like LARPy thing. Actual esotericism. It's like, oh, hey, this could be a possibility. This can't be a possibility. Oh, this is related to this individual. Oh, maybe did we find his videos? Maybe not. But I liked it. I liked it a lot. And it was
Right like a man.
And see if we can still look for him. I liked it a lot. It is a shame that he wiped everything out. He wiped all his stuff out. It is a shame because his stuff was good. His stuff was really good. Especially if you wanted to learn about like weird, obscure stuff. Like, people don't know. Like, a good example would be like how, one of the one of the people who were involved in the American Rocketeer, right, was an occultist who had connection to Scientologists before science. L. Ron Hubbard. There we go. Hubbard. Said his last name wrong. He had connection to him. Right, and getting into Hubbard. I'll make it quick. I think Hubbard didn't believe in aliens. I think he believed in things like demons and all that. But it was at that time period, it was more easy to sell people the idea of aliens than it was with demons, especially at that time period where I think like in the late 19th and early 20th century, there was a shift of more of occultist stuff, and a lot of that occultist stuff got shifted over towards a lot more of the alien stuff. But yeah, it is a shame that his videos are gone. If I could, I will look them up, maybe find an archive or somewhere. Like, they have to be preserved, because there's no way, because a lot of it was good. And that's always the thing I don't like about a lot of creators, is that they have this tendency to sometimes to just wipe everything out and not keep a backup somewhere. Like, even if even if it's not on YouTube, they can just move that information to like a different website or archive it, right? Rather than just like nuking it off the ground and you have to go out of your way and it's like difficult to even look for it. It's it's very annoying. It is very annoying. It's very difficult. It's to the point where dude, why? Um, you know, cause like if you wanted to do that because like well YouTube is gonna flag them or YouTube is not gonna show them, fine, that's fine. But like move it somewhere else where people can still go and enjoy them, and or at least let people archive them, right? Like the completionist is a good example of a guy who gave people a period of time where they can go out and archive their information or archive his old video with his old co-host. That's what he did. You could have done the same, but you did it, and I'm not gonna harp on it for too long. It's just annoying. It's just an annoying thing that I don't like, right? You know, let people go and archive what's already there, just so people can later on enjoy it, right? More likely is a lot of these are probably not even see, here's another YouTube channel. Oh, maybe we did. Oh, maybe we may have probably found his other stuff. Maybe not. I don't think I did. Nope, it's just a whole different channel. Um, whole different channel. I'm probably subscribed to it. It's pretty interesting. And one of these days we will probably go into in depth with this kind of stuff because I do like learning about this stuff, whether I agree with it or not, whether I think it's believable or not. I think that a lot of it is interesting enough where maybe in one way or another this could be based on something true, right? This could be based on something of there is a possibility that it could be real but not in the way you would like it. If anything, it's probably more, if it is real, then the reason why it's real, it's more interesting, right? And it's funny because like you would think like nowadays with someone like Winnacle, who I like his stuff. Like he's popular, and a lot of the things he does are kind of he made videos that would be considered controversial and flag him. So I guess it's also just a general attitude, a general way of presenting your information, and the production behind it also does matter when you want to present these kind of stuff. And I think if he went out of his way and redid a lot of those videos with newer information and better stuff, it would be a lot more better. It would be a lot better for everybody. And again, I probably stop harping on it. I think I have no clue how long have I been. Okay, a couple of minutes. I've been ranting about it. Sorry if I was ranting on about it. 'Cause it's just annoying. It's just an annoying factor. Let people preserve what is there, so people can be happy. People can enjoy it rather than, oh hey, it's not even here anymore. Like he has like one video that is still that he still does. Let's see. Let's watch it and see how it is before we go. Let's read the last of it, and then we'll move into what if history. We'll get into kinocasino and what if history. I just wanted to get into it because I liked his stuff in the past, and I still do. I just find it annoying that I can't find it anywhere.
Hey everybody, Pete here, and welcome to Dark Sayings. Today's topic, the Hollow Earth. Now, this is a classic of mysterious and fringe ideas, going back to the 1700s and popularized by people like Edmund Halley. The Hollow Earth is nothing new. In fact, there are many parallels in the ancient world, Sheol, the underworld of Hades in Greek mythology. So it's not a particularly innovative idea. Edmund Halley, I believe his model was concentric spheres, up to 5 inside the Earth. Now, by the 19th century, this idea would be championed by people like John Cleves Symmes Jr. He's an interesting character in his own right. He had spent a fortune writing letters to various members of international parliaments, congresses, presidents, kings, trying to raise money to conduct an expedition into the Hollow Earth. He was so convinced that it was real He had several Hollow Earth globes produced for the purpose of doing a lecture tour and printing pamphlets to spread his ideas and try to promote the Hollow Earth as well as he could. In fact, his grave is marked by a pretty impressive gravestone featuring a very cool model of the Hollow Earth at the very top of it. It's just a globe with a big hole in it. With all that being said, there have been several very curious instances associated with the Hollow Earth. First and foremost would be a military operation conducted by the United States known as Operation High Jump, led famously by Admiral Byrd. Now, there is a rumor of his secret diary talking about his experience in this Hollow Earth. Purportedly, his plane was taken over by advanced technology used by the Hollow Earth dwellers to pilot him into an enormous opening in the South Pole where he met denizens of this interior world. Now, there are legends that if the world here on the surface gets too crazy, eventually the forces of the Hollow Earth will rise up, come to the surface
I
world,
miss
and
this
fight
stuff. This is
to
the stuff
correct
I
things.
miss, where it was
The leader and
offhand
lord of the
wackiness.
Hollow Earth is a character that comes from
It's
theosophy as
beautiful. I love
well.
it.
His name is Sanat Kumara, King of the Hollow Earth. He's a central figure in the Theosophical Ascended Master hierarchy, and he rules over the crystalline city of Agartha deep within this
Agartha,
world.
we're going to
These Ascended Masters would
Hyperborea,
come to us from the
bitches. Let's
tradition of theosophy, and
go.
this is an interesting aspect of this story. They are a hierarchy of enlightened beings, some of which used to be human, others which are extraterrestrial in nature, who have various talents and abilities beyond that of mortal men. They are more advanced spiritually, intellectually, physically. Some are said to exist purely on the etheric plane. There's also extraterrestrials in this group. One that is the most famous of them all would be Ashtar of the Ashtar Galactic Command. You also may have heard of Jesus Sananda, not to be confused with Jesus Christ of the Bible, but there is some conflation between the characters in the mythology that's sprung up around this. The Hollow Earth is an interesting crossroads for many of these fringe topics. Everything from the Antarctica mystery to the secret diary of Admiral Byrd, a UFO connection.
Real fast. I like the vibe he has in the background with these different things. The reason why I like that is because I have a friend who is like this. He's kind of Eastern Orthodox. He's slowly becoming Eastern Orthodox, but it's hilarious when sometimes I walk into his little office room, his book room or his music room as you call it, his little room of his cave room. Um, and he has like obviously he has his Orthodox stuff, but then you have like weird Hindu and Buddhist and weird esoteric stuff, and I'm like, God, and I just look at him like, huh, we are friends at heart. We really are good friends.
Connection, ancient lost lands like Lemuria and Atlantis, and even long forgotten civilizations. One of the interesting aspects about the Hollow Earth is the belief that it is populated by prehistoric creatures. We're talking about woolly mammoth, dinosaur, pterodactyl. All manner of extinct creatures may exist within the Hollow Earth, an entire crystalline civilization of advanced enlightened beings and creatures from our ancient past. It must be a wonder to behold. Really fascinating stuff. I really love the idea of these lost lands and fantastical landscapes. It inspires the imagination and takes you to a far off place that may or may not have ever existed. Again, Hollow Earth, fascinating mystery, lots to talk about here. So, with so many avenues to cover in the Hollow Earth, this is just a general overview to kind of broach the subject. But allow me to suggest that if you have curiosities about the Hollow Earth, if you'd like me to expand on any of these particular aspects of the story, I'd be happy to produce another video. We could do one about those Ascended Masters I mentioned. We could talk about Theosophy a little bit. There are so many avenues to explore down these various rabbit holes, and I am more than thrilled to present this information to you for your evaluation and assessment. But it's really what you think that matters to me. So, comment down below. Let me know how you feel about the Hollow Earth theory. Are there other Earth models you're interested in? Personally, I'm starting to lean towards the idea the Earth may be bigger than they tell us, and there might be a lot more on the other side of it than we know. But that is a story for another day. Again, I want to thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for tuning in. If you don't mind, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to this channel. Tell a friend, man. That's how we grow around here. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back again tomorrow with another fresh upload. I want to say have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Take care.
Yeah, that's the sub I used to watch. Oh, that's another guy. There's another guy offhand. I'm trying to remember. His name was his channel was Spirit Science. Yo, when I tell you I used to be into this stuff, I used to be into it. Like whether or not I believe in that if the hollow earth is real, whether or not I believe that there used to be a hidden Russian empire that was destroyed because of mud, whether I believe that like the the earth is much more bigger and there may be other hidden continent. I don't think that really matters. My opinion on it is like whatever, but I like learning. I like the intrigue of it. I like that there may be a chance that that stuff could be more real than we like to believe. That there is more to the world than what we live in, and that reality is a lot more. What's the right word? It's a lot more more fantasy like, right? Because reality is more weird than fantasy, right? What I think with fantasy, I think there's an expectation of things just being weird enough, or in reality, because you're so used to the mundane, when it does happen, you don't think about it. So it's one of the main reasons why I got into this stuff, right? Especially when you're young and you have more of an impression of mind, you get into that stuff really hard, right? I used to like back when YouTube wasn't so stingy and wasn't like Pog and everything. Uh, you know, you can go in and watch like old Alex Jones videos, right? When Alex Jones was like all over YouTube and how insane that was before he got shut down, right? He got completely shut down. Nowadays like that's you're never gonna see Alex Jones on. Well, he is on YouTube, right? He did sell his platform, right? He sold it off because of the whole Sandy Hook stuff and everything, right? I'm not really getting into that, but he had to do that, right? So he wouldn't get slam.
Everything has
He wouldn't
issues
get,
that stand.
he wouldn't get slammed. Sorry, trying to get everything ready for what we're gonna watch next. With it, we are gonna watch the Kino Casino. We are gonna go into the Kino Casino stuff. Um, we've been streaming for 45 minutes. It's been close. It's been almost an hour since we've been streaming. I'm gonna take a small break. I gotta use the bathroom right now. I'll be right back in the next 2 or 3 minutes. So we'll take a small little break. See you in a couple seconds or minutes. Sorry for that. Thanks everyone for sticking around for that little break. Now we're gonna get into the main topic of today's subject. What if history? Sorry if I went on a bit of a detour. Sorry if I went on something completely different than what I originally was planning to do. I think I do want to get into that kind of stuff. Get into a little creepy book and everything because I think he's an interesting fella. I think he is quite good.
Just heard?
Yeah, it's the first time on the show that we have to like ungild the lily.
Yeah, like
We
we're
gotta-
like,
we're like,
listen,
listen.
this is too insane. Let's try and reel things back, guys. For once, we're like, listen, let's not felt this guy. Let's try and be reasonable. We have what if alt history. This is a man named Rudyard. The tale of Rudyard, the wizard, the god killer, the historian, probably one of the most pretentious, fart huffing. This is a guy who really wants you to believe that he's intelligent. He really wants you to believe that he's super smart, he's an intellectual, he's a genius, he's a thought leader, or whatever. He has, you see here, 700,000 subscribers on YouTube. This is not a small channel.
Wow.
He makes videos where it's like what could have happened in history.
And he's like,
alternate
wow, it
history.
takes you back to
He
the
makes
early
predictions of,
the early
like,
mid
what could
2010s
happen
all
if
over
there was a
again.
Civil War in America.
He looking like shit.
But
It's JF.
recently,
It's
he
JF
started
all over
going
again for
down,
him.
like, a
It's
path
so
of, like,
so Annie over.
I don't know how to describe it. I guess being in the dissident right / like incel community.
I'm gonna correct PPP there. Yes and no. Incel community, I wouldn't call What If an incel. I don't think he is an incel in the same manner as other people. I think if anything, he is more sympathetic and he's trying to give some type of like, I don't know if the word historic is a good word, but he's trying to sort of like, hey, maybe the reason the incels are the way there is because of societal issues, and you can look through history how this could have happened, how certain things could be relatable to this, right? I don't think that's that's what I would say. I would not call him an incel. I would not call him an incel in any real way. I don't think he thinks he himself is an incel, so I think PPP is wrong in terms of the dissident right. That depends on what do you mean by the dissident right in America, because it's difficult. I will firmly die on this hill. I feel like when we're trying to describe the dissident right, I think there is a lot of confusion. It's what is technically, where does the liberal right end and where do you get non-liberal right wingers? Where does it end and where does it begin? What if history is still within that thin middle line? Because he is very much a liberal who disillusioned with the state. He's sort of like, I would not call him an alt-righter, but it's in the same vein. Like the same sort of like the state is failing, the state is not doing what it's supposed to. It is screwing over my people or the people. Our rights and liberty are being taken advantage. That's what I would say, that it's not like he's all right. He is not. He is not all right. But you can kind of see where it kind of begins, or not where it begins, but where, God, I can't think of the right words offhand. I'm just saying that there's there's no connection between the two. It's just more, you could kind of see where their dots is coming from. I guess that's a better way of saying it. And again, whether or not you think he's dissident right, I don't think so. I think he dog whistled, and obviously towards my side he does. But I don't think he is right wing in a very genuine way. I think he is there, but is not there. I don't think he'll be like anti-American right wing, where they're not. He's gonna be pro-American no matter what.
Where
We'll
he
continue.
put out a video that everybody is like, "What the fuck? The coming incel revolution?"
This topic
Where he
is one of the
he
most will cause.
okay. know it's really intellectual
His
when you get
microphone
stock
sucks.
footage of.
I don't like how PPP is handling this. I think it's very ridiculous. I don't know if he's just doing it just for entertaining value. I watched this video on live stream. There's things I don't like about it, but there are some things that do kind of make sense. I think the idea of an incel revolting against the state is stupid. But I think a lot of the points, there are good points in that video, even if the video is kind of ridiculous and the title is stupid. And I think PPP is kind of being dishonest. Again, I know I shouldn't, again, I don't like What If History, but I feel like if you haven't watched the video, I don't think, or at least watched a lot of his other stuff prior to this, you're gonna miss out on a lot of information. It's just kind of disheartening or just annoying.
Elephants, okay.
His microphone. You hear that shit?
A revolution in the next few years. For people new to my channel,
So he's predicted in the next 2 years. So we have another
A year
18
and 3 months
to go. That incels are going to rise up and reenact The Handmaid's Tale. Was basically his take, and a lot of people looked at this side-eyed, like, well, that's probably not going to happen. But, it's like, okay, you might see how he got there because there's, all the black pill channels, stuff like that.
Yikes.
But this was one of the first warning signs that Rudyard was on a dark path.
No,
I'm
it's
gonna just
not
show
the
you
first
guys
warning
what's going
sign. There has been other inklings and stuff prior to that, whether it be on his personal account, like his X or Instagram account, and other videos where he's gone into that. This isn't the first time. And I think a lot of people were seeing it. It's just the first time that they've probably seen it, right? Let's continue.
To the folder. Let's start with 0.
Okay.
This is how I learned of Rudyard, because I had seen some of his videos, but I never like subscribed or followed him. Like, I saw that Incel Revolution video. I've seen a couple of his other videos just recommended by the algorithm, and I've put it on as background noise and stuff like that.
Okay.
But this is where I first was concerned for Rudyard. I saw this clip and I was like, whoa, buddy. And then we'll go back and we'll look at what the first warning signs were on Twitter. But let's have a look here. This is part of Rudyard. Basically, what happened is the guy took ayahuasca and he had a spiritual experience. Basically, he fucking lost his mind, went on a complete manic, schizophrenic episode.
Okay.
And he put out season 1, season 2, and season 3. And each of these videos were about 3.5
Actually,
hours
PPP, it was
of
parts,
the most
not seasons.
insane schizophrenic ramblings you could possibly imagine. But this is really like the moment where you go, whoa, this guy is fucking nuts.
Okay.
Yeah, he's sipping
I have
fucking
not seen any
kratom
of
the
this.
whole time. Yeah, they were entitled My Life, and he had 3 seasons of it. So let's have a look here at Rudyard. I think this will kind of sum up why we're covering this.
Okay.
And then we'll go back to the beginning and we'll go through it in kind of
Okay.
chronological order.
How did you what if Worski stayed on the kill stream? All history? What if JF and Worski never split? I'd be dead.
That would be funny.
You heard from this from people who were DMing you, because I
Yeah.
got DMs about this and I had no idea and I was like busy and stuff. But you were like, you had known him, so you were like, wait, what? That's how. Okay. Thank you for sending it in, guys.
It would be funny in a world where Annie Worski stayed with Ethan Ralph or JF. It would be a funny ass world to see them still working with each other. Obviously, that's not the case anymore for very clear reasons. But that would be an interesting change of events where Worski stayed with JF or he stayed with Ethan Ralph. I don't think he would have gone down this path, but it would have been interesting.
Mother had me over 40 times in that age range.
Whoa!
It's pretty heavy stuff. It's a pretty hot start. It's a pretty interesting intro to Mr. Rudyard.
The details make things even vastly worse. My mother waterboarded me at least 2 or 3 times, or drowning me in the
It's not
bath.
funny, but it's
My
like,
mom
damn.
Waterboarded?
Is he wearing
He was
makeup?
waterboarded, buddy? Bro, he's got the guy liner on hard.
I like how that's what I'm focusing on. The guy liner, not the 40 and 2 waterboard sessions.
To my own sister, and she had forced.
Wait, okay, wait.
It's so dense. Every second is just completely insane. So Rudyard here is admitting
It's
to
so
molesting
wild.
and raping
Such
his
wild
own
stuff.
sister. It's a bold strategy, Rudyard.
My mom had forced me to rape my own sister, and she had forced the babysitter to rape me. My mom had burned me with scald.
And then the babysitter was forced to rape Rudyard.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Sir Rudyard, this is
You can
supposed to
tell
be
that these
a
guys
scene.
are. You can tell they are
going
uncomfortable.
on?
You can tell that they have to make
Water
jokes just to
punish
get
me,
through this.
Hit me in the back with a shovel as a kid.
With a
A few
shovel?
memories have really stuck with me, and they required years of EMDRs to clean out. One was my mom beating me over the head with a 1,000-page book.
We should have started with this today.
With the
Jesus
1,000-page book, bro. What was the exact page count of the book that he was beaten with?
And the
It
amount
was
of
seared
rape.
into his mind.
40 times?
It's
Very specific.
40 days and nights of rape. It's biblical. It's a biblical incestual rapening, buddy.
I mean, give or take. It was not exact. But.
That was her standard move, and she did it hundreds of times.
You mean fucking
Bro,
brain dead?
She beat you with the 1,000-page book hundreds of times?
Come on.
The sound's been locked in my ears as a crack like gunpowder. I just hear.
Okay, now we're going to focus on how did we get to this point. So we're going to go.
Now, before we move forward, I'm not. I think it looks like they did go through a lot of the. It looks like they actually went through a lot of the actual stuff. I'm not sure they just went through. It looks like they went through a bunch of different areas of his videos, or at least of the biography. What they probably did was they probably either they watched it or somebody else watched it, and they just cut out, or they found like somebody who cut out a lot of like the important information, and then they just kind of just made it into what it is. Like they just probably just cut out all the insane stuff. Like they got all the crazy stuff, put them in one video, and then they cut out probably the actual content and the context of the actual thing. That what we saw, or the clip they were watching offhand, was in the first part, and he does explain why his mom did that. He does go into depth into the psychology of his own mom and why she's like batshit insane and why she committed those things. Which again, if you watch those clips of the crazy stuff, you would just think that he is just insane. You would just think that he is just a nutcase, and that that's just how he is, right? That's how he is. That's how the video. That's how all those parts are going. In reality, the actual parts are more in depth about his life, what he experienced, and the torment of being around his mom, and what that psychological effect did to him. Right. But I'm not gonna try to say that these guys are being dishonest, because it looks like they did, but watch part of it. In reality, it's just they probably just are watching clips of all the crazy stuff and not actually watching the real biography, and actually like, oh hey, it's actually a lot more in depth. And I've said it in a video. I said it in a video I made, and I do have a video, which is 30 minutes long, coming out later today, where I actually go individual parts and talk about the elements of each individual part of the biography. It's close to 30 minutes. It's gonna be a long video. So it's one of the main reasons why I wanted to do a live stream on What If History, just so I can promote my video that's coming out later today. That I actually had done a week ago, but because so much shit had happened last week, I decided to push it back till now.
Go back and we're gonna look at the warning signs before we go to these next videos from his incredible trilogy. We're gonna have a look at his initial spur gout.
Okay.
So this is part 1 of the spur gout. You can see,
do we put some music over this? Like, what kind of song do you want?
I don't know, like some sort of adventure fantasy, like music. I don't know.
Yeah, look, cinematic royalty free. We need something because this looks like it's gonna be something that storyteller. There we go.
Hi everyone. I have to tell you folks something. I am a quite advanced mystic and am capable of communicating with the spirit world.
Stop.
If you wonder why I know so much and am so successful at the age of 23, this is part of the reason. I have a photographic memory and have used this to have hundreds of hours of communication with different spiritual forces, whether God, the devil, Mother Nature, Hermes, Trismegistus, the Anima, and many more. I have a pretty good map of the spirit world, the Lord God, and the tree of life, which is the spirit of consciousness connected to you by blood through evolution, are forcing me against my own consent to intervene in the game now. I really did not want to do this, but God forced my hand. I did this since I was concerned we'd all fucking die as a society if I don't. And I'm young enough. I'm invested. They're really worried about you. They can see inside your souls. They know you're all miserable. None of you get laid, have babies, or have any reason to live or connection. If I pause. Like, Rudyard, speak for yourself, buddy. Like, this is his concern. Nobody's getting laid. I think, Rudyard, it's you who's not getting laid.
Heads up, Roger does admit in his biography that he kind of realized why he doesn't get laid. He actually kind of goes in depth. I'm not saying these guys are doing something unfair. It is insane, and I think a lot of people did have the same reaction when we all read it. Right, we all had the same reaction when we all first read this, because it's like, dude, are you really... it's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's a nutcase. I love it. I love it.
Good sir. It's you who's not having babies or any reason to live or connect. Like, this is crazy shit, dude.
This is actually the most twisted shit I've ever heard. What did people say about this tweet? What was the response?
Like,
hey, are you good?
Everybody's like, are you all right? And he's like engaging with them, like defending this shit. Like, this is a crazy story. Like, this is, and the thing is, it's just like, I don't know what to make of this. Basically, my interpretation, he took this ayahuasca. It totally fucked up his mind. He got all these false memories and these false ideas. He's trying to say now that he was trolling, but I'm telling you guys,
That's a cult. That is 100% of a
trolling. And as we go through this, he says that he was triggering and owning the libs. They sent me to say everything is going to be fine, that I'm here to be responsible for my people's survival and their soul. I'm here to explain how both the spirit and the material worlds work for you in this stressful juncture in evolution. I serve God and the tree of life. I have 10 hours of video content I've just released explaining what exactly happened to me, what I know of the world, why modernity is all lies. Next slide.
It is 10 hours. The biography video, it's 10 hours long and it's extremely brutal. The first part is roughly like an hour or two. We'll watch that one day. The second part is almost 3 hours, 4 hours. And the last part is literally 4 hours long. No pause, no break. The last part is so insanely crazy that I do genuinely believe if he did not make the third part and he completely scrapped it or at least toned it down, there would be more people who are sympathetic to him. Right? I think, and also like if he would have cut out a lot of the crazier stuff as well in the second part and a little bit of the first part, again, there would be more people who are sympathetic. He could have easily have made a video where he's explaining people his past would explain the way he was raised and the way he thinks and the way he acts. In reality, he ended up making something that is bizarre.
Okay.
Your era believes are lies. 99% of human history agrees about all this stuff, and modern industrial civilization is the one exception. Get with the program! They all venerated the divine, and God doesn't take insults lightly. Your bloodline, God, and the spirit world all believe you are completely insane. They see Western civilization is committing suicide. The birth rate is in complete freefall, careening towards zero. They have already won. You haven't realized yet. I have already established a unified theory of life that incorporates physics, history, every major world religion, biology, Darwinism, Plato, and Aristotle. Watch the video if you're interested. Your ancestors were correct, and you are wrong. I am a proud Christian and was very careful that nothing I say contradicts this Bible, so this message can elevate Christ. If I ever do, I will immediately submit to Scripture. My message can be integrated with any given world religion, since I stand for freedom, so that we can all experience the spirit world on our own terms. I've been there, and I will show you how. I am a man who stands for other men. I stand so that men will not be treated as cattle. The meaning of life, empathy, to listen to others and understand them. At the same time, to take responsibility for your own actions, to be an adult and accurately assess your environment with self-awareness, to see what you want yourself. Take your own destiny and follow the path God wants for you. Okay.
Wait on. And the song ended. It was like perfect time.
Yeah. That sounds about right. When you read it out loud like that, especially the way PP did it, it's nut. What if history is a nutty character? What he just said right here, I am a proud Christian, and I was very careful that nothing I say contradicts the Bible, so the message can elevate Christ. All right. Okay, the thing is, in the third part and elements of the second part, he literally said that I've spoke to Olden. I've spoken to the lesser guy, to God. And then in those same video, he straight up says like, yeah, I met God, and he's not the God from the Bible, or at least from the Old Testament. I'm like, are you a Gnostic? Like, are you unironically throwing Gnosticism, not Gnosticism, Gnostic beliefs, and then you're trying, like, because from what I understand, he's a Protestant, right? He's a Protestant person. Like, he's Protestant, and I'm not trying to hound on Protestantism, right? I'm not trying to, like, bring up the whole schisms and everything. I'm not trying to do that here today. I'll do that another day, when I'm in the mood. But, dude, It's always Protestant that I have to deal with, where they go on this weird schizo rant about like, well, there could be other gods or lesser beings that are God, but I believe in God and Christ in the Bible, but there could be other like stuff, and I'm just like, what the hell are you going on? I have a friend, he's trying to become Eastern Orthodox, and he still have some of these kind of relatable beliefs, and I'm like, dude, you can't do that. And that's what makes it funny in my eyes. When he goes on about God and Jesus, and then he pulls the Gnostic card out of nowhere, I'm just like, okay, man. I think psychedelic really messed him up. And it's funny because prior in the previous like upper text, he brings up like the anima, from what I understand, is believe I think it's like dealing with spiritual being and creatures, almost similar to the Aeon in Gnosticism. Right? In another post, I don't have it here, but I did have a post in one of my videos where he goes on about talking to Odin. Again, in the video itself, in the biography video, he does talk about Odin and speaking to him.
World religions can all be true at the same time, and there be no contradictions. Like
there is. I don't remember. There is a philosophy in certain Christians thinking. Again, you mostly find it within Protestantism, where there's the belief where I can't remember what it is offhand. That the sort of a belief that you can still believe in God and Christ and the Bible, but still kind of hold like Buddhist thinking or Shintoism or Hinduism. Right? There is a philosophy and theology in certain form of Protestantism that does that. And then not really within the church, but I know John Paul II John Paul wasn't trying to, and John Paul's controversial in his own right, but John Paul did try to like ease certain religious tensions with other religious group, and he did have that whole big prayer, but don't hold it to me.
They're all true, and there are no contradictions.
To be fair, PPP, Aristotle's philosophy and thinking with Platonism did have a big impact within early criticism. Obviously, Saint Aquinas, Saint Thomas, I believe Saint Augustine, was a big fan of Aristotle. So,
whatsoever,
think that is
because Rudyard said so.
Mm-hmm.
And Rudyard, this 23-year-old savior, is going to stand so that men will not be treated as cattle there, buddy. He's going to save us, buddy. Holy shit, this keeps going,
buddy.
By the way.
I know, here we go. I have a new one.
There is no irony or joke here. This is all my best attempt at truth. Look, I'm an empiricist. I just tell you what I read and what I hear from the divine. I challenge anyone to disprove me. I support civil debates. Prove me wrong with those who would like to do so. If I'm wrong, I will accept that. But I only have two requests from you. The first is that you should not bother me or my people. Every day, I or anyone I'm close to gets personally harassed. I refuse to speak to the divine. God and the tree are getting really tired of our society's immaturity, and they will punish this kind of behavior. I really don't want to bother anyone, and I ask the same of you. This is quite stressful for me, so I'd like a moment of calm to think. The second is that all debates and conversations I have must be based in logical first principles. No ideology, no hysteria, no foolishness.
Wow, okay.
You may wonder who I am to say this. I am Rudyard William Lynch. I am a 23-year-old ethnic Briton from rural Pennsylvania who lives in Texas now. I have hiked the Appalachian Trail I have run a club for influencers in LA, and I run a YouTube channel with millions of independent viewers a month named whatifalthist, which talks about history, anthropology, geopolitics, and philosophy. I've lived in half a dozen states, countries, and worked that many different jobs. I've read nearly 1,000 books so far in my life, and I can draw any country and any year of history from memory on the spot. I also run an organization called the Order of the Crimson Dragon.
I forgot about the order. I forgot about that. I just realized that now. The Order of the Crimson Dragon. The Order. He even admitted that he wanted to create the Order of the Blue Dragons. Ugh. In the biography, he does explain what that is, and it's very LARPy. It is very LARPy. It is something you would find in like medieval Germany or like somewhere in like in a Slavic nation or even like Romania, right? That's something you will find in like Romania or like in Germany in that period of time. Not or somebody in the far right or maybe even far left who wants to create a weird organized group. Like, if anything, the Order of the Crimson Dragon sounds like a weird, like, neo-Confucianist Chinese communist group. That sounds pretty base. That sounds pretty wild. Actually, I would like that. I wish that was true, but it isn't.
We're a human capital group which aims at making men as excellent as possible. We are here to take your son and make him as brave, as handsome, as smart, charming, skilled, and wealthy as possible. I want to help your 19-year-old son and take responsibility for him. Hold.
Whoa.
This is the cringiest fucking shit.
I want to take your 19-year-old son.
I want to take your 19-year-old son. Buddy, I just like the claim that he's able to draw any country in any year of history from memory on the spot.
Stop.
Can we get this guy on live stream to do this? Can we test this claim? Like, I love this sentence. I've lived in half a dozen states, countries, and worked that many different jobs. So he's lived in 6 states, 6 countries, and worked 6 different jobs.
666?
666. And I'm not really sure if doing that qualifies you to be the Messiah. I don't really know how hiking the Appalachian Trail qualifies you to be the Messiah. You ran a club for influencers in LA. Like, did this even happen?
It did.
Like, what?
It actually is a real thing.
25.
23, he says.
He's 23. How did he didn't do any of this?
He did all this shit. He was in a high school club. He runs an organization called the Order of the Crimson Dragon.
I believe that.
That doesn't sound like an insane cult at all.
I believe that one.
It sounds totally legit.
No, Ash, that's a D&D group. That's a That's a Dungeons and Dragons game. All right.
Okay. The OCD has 70 members with multiple in-person locations across.
I'm gonna say something real fast about that. It is funny that he is 23, but from what I understand, like he had a lot of connections prior before really becoming popular. So I think that's what led him to have the attitude he does. About the whole thing about that organization, I think it is true, but it's probably not like a public thing. It's one of those private things, like a brotherhood, like kind of like you have to know somebody to join and you have to be around them at all. It's like kind of like the Freemasons, right? If you don't know a lot of Freemasons, to join the Freemasons, you have to be very much close with somebody, and then you have to be brought into the organization through a friend, through somebody of a member. And as one person said to me, like you spend so much time with them that you develop a brotherhood, like a brotherhood type of deal with that person. Because the membership is it's not that it's strict, it's more like you have to know somebody to get in. And that's probably what it is. You probably need to know somebody to even get into the membership and go from there. About the whole living in different countries, I think that is true. I think there's enough case to be made that he has like lived in different country within a short period of time. Like not like, oh, he lived there for a long period, but he has. And then about him living in different states is also it's true. Same thing with the city stuff. He brags about it a lot, which is very annoying, and he's tried to use that as a reflection of like, well, how can I not be attractive if I moved all over the world? I lived in different city. I own like, how can I not get the hoes, the bitches? And it's like, maybe because the way you act, my man, and the way you are. Plus, also, he looks like he's in his 30s. The man looks like he's like in his 30s, but he's 22, 23. It's pretty funny.
Across the country, we have members in almost every field, including several celebrities, people from multiple presidential administrations, and genuine intellectuals. We are backed by powerful people in conservative politics, Silicon Valley, and media. I will not share their name. I won't share any of their names since I have class and dignity, or decency. We have an established leadership and internal management structure that I built very carefully. We have teams working on throwing a conference this spring in Austin. So this is apparently a real thing. Rudyard is going to host a conference of the Order of the Crimson Dragon in April. And
OCD?
The OCD. Like, it couldn't be more perfect, buddy. Your cult's called OCD?
Oh wow, it is. That is pretty funny when you think.
Okay.
I didn't realize that till now.
OCD Con 2025.
we bring.
I will be right back. I use the bathroom again. I will be back in less than a minute. Sorry for that. We're right back. Sorry for that. Give me a second. Let me get back into the mood. So about that, the whole conservative, he probably has connection. He probably has connections to people in Silicon Valley. And from what I can gather, I think he can easily back that up. It would not surprise me if he has like actual political or like ties to people like that. It would not surprise me given that he lived in LA for a period of time. And a lot of people who have money, who go to LA, they either go to LA because it's easier, there's more connections, and there's more opportunity to build up a connection, right? So it would not surprise me if Roger actually did that and was able to make a lot of connection, was able to build a group from it. That would not surprise me. I think there's enough case. I think there's a case to be made in that. But his organization name needs to be changed. Calling it the Order of the Red Dragon, it's just LARPy. It's just a LARPy name. Change it to something that is less LARPy, and it would be taken more serious.
Honor, freedom, and truth. For those interested, we are opening to the public in 2 months. That's it. It's an honor to serve. I'm here to help as much as I can. Best, Rudyard Lynch.
This is very Lynchian, by the way. So
yeah. By the way, this guy's like a borderline groiper. He says here, you should be skeptical of me at first, since that's just healthy boundaries. But
I don't think he's a groper. I don't think he is. I know him and Nick Fuentes have quite a bit of beef with each other. If anything, they're more of, I don't know how to say it. They share a certain space, but they're from very opposite side. Where they're both American first, they're both Christian, they're both kind of incel-ish like. But I think the difference is where I think Roger, you can make the case where he is very much more incel like. Nick Fuentes is less like that, and he just say things like offhand because it sometimes can be funny, sometimes a little nutty, gets him into trouble. But I wouldn't be surprised if Nick actually is capable of talking to women in a very easy manner versus Roger, who is trying to. He's probably doing it in a very autistic. I mean, they both are probably are autistic, and they talk to girls in an autistic manner. I think it's the way they come and approach it.
Rifle, so feel free to push back on my ideas as much as possible, but please be polite and rational about it. Well, Rudyard, I'd like to be the first to invite you on Kino Casino. You have an open invitation to explain everything we're about to witness you say. Yes. I would really like for you to explain what we're about to hear.
All right.
So, okay.
We'll get Steve. We'll get Steve to help us with that.
We need Steve. Yeah, we need Steve on that interview for sure, buddy. Well, that's the ending. That's the ending right there. Right, so hold on.
Just
the Rudyard Super Show.
Okay. Oh, what's next now? You want me to go back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, then we're doing
now we're going to go to 0.1, and Rudyard is going to tell us how he gained his mystical abilities.
All right, here we go. The meat of it.
For the very important things that happened, I entered into this sort of mystic dream state where I actually had a relatively easy way to communicate with the spirit world when my mom was r***ing me. Because
wait.
Source. The source of Rudyard's spiritual powers is that he was raped by his mom.
Hang on. Wait.
It's
based mom?
Like, I don't know.
The source, I think he got it from Evola. And again, with Julius Evola, take that with a grain of salt. Take what Julius Evola say with a grain of salt. It could be true. It could be not true if given that it is Evola. It can be a 50-50 in between. Take that with a grain of salt. I think Julius Evola could have said something similar to that, but also no, he probably did. But where he's getting his source, that could be anywhere. At least when I'm remembering offhand, I could be corrected. I probably should be corrected on that actually.
And waterboarded, and then I transcended into the spirit realm.
Chakras.
Such an extreme emotion, it kind of shatters your framework for how you perceive consciousness. I could explain that more if you'd like.
Is it more likely, Rudyard, that you being raped by your mom was so traumatic that it gave you mystical powers to talk to Odin? Or is it so traumatic that it made you go insane when you're delusional? Or is it more likely, and this is, I think, the correct explanation, that when you took this ayahuasca, buddy, your anus wasn't prepared and it broke your mind completely, and you did 11 hours of schizophrenic false memories and ramblings that you later deleted out of shame and claimed you were trolling?
I think that's trolling. It's a cope on him, because in reality, what he said, this is what I'm gonna say. In the biography, what he said is what he believed, and he's going off of that. And I think he did the trolling thing as a way to cope with the fact that people who could have easily sympathized with him or could have agreed with him in some regard saw the craziness first, and they were like, nope, we're out. I have stated it a number of times, and I'll still state it. If he released the first two parts with a little bit of the craziness as a way to kind of like break up the sadness, people would have taken him more serious and people would have been more sympathetic. In reality, in reality, because of the third part, it did the opposite effect, and it just hit him back. and if he would have done the crazy stuff later on, like just slowly, just drop it like little crumbs, people probably would have not bat an eye and probably would have been like, yeah, I could see how that could be true. But I'd also think that he's trying to do like a carbon copy of Nick Fuentes. Like I'm gonna say that as a joke, but it could be true that he's trying to do the equivalent of Nick, where he's trying to do an American First, but with more Protestant Gnostic people, and I think it's not working well. Whereas obviously, regardless of how you feel about Nick movement is popular and successful, especially for him, especially among like whites and Hispanics, Catholics.
Apparently, from what I've studied, a lot of the most advanced mystics were as children.
That needs a source.
You're never gonna expect the shit he says, bro. Like, we can hit the bell, but it's like self-evident. You know what I mean? All of the mystic magic people, like, I don't know what study he got this from or what his source or citation was, but apparently all of the most powerful mystics were raped as children, buddy. So now he's in the mystic spirit realm with these powers, and we're going to hear what he did with them. So let's have a look.
So I captured the left circle in my triangle, which is symbolic for the right and the left hemisphere. The left hemisphere has to serve the right hemisphere. I also lit up the tree, which I'm going to explain at the end. When I did all of this, Odin...
He captured the left circle and he captured the triangle, bro. Worski, this is beyond our comprehension, I think. He captured the circle in his triangle, or the triangle in his circle, bro. And then he lit the tree. He lit the tree of life. But now, when that happened, when he captured the circle in his triangle and lit the tree of life, then Odin, yes, Odin, the All-Father of Norse mythology, who somehow his existence does not contradict Christianity, of which Rudyard is an avid adherent whatsoever. Odin, the All-Father, spoke to him, and what did Odin have to say? Let's hear.
Okay.
Odin said, "Do you have any idea what you just did, mortal? You killed a god. You have no idea what that even means."
Bro, he's tripping. He's tripping.
Killed a guy. He's a god slayer. He thinks he's a god slayer in Semigami Tensei game. You are my gods.
Tripping.
Okay, that's alright.
Thou even know
Alright.
what
I'll be right back.
thou hast done, mortal. Thou hast killed a god with thy triangle.
You know who he looks like? King Cobra. If he was like not as doesn't he? Doesn't he?
You just changed the course of history single-handedly, Rudyard. What you did is just the
His
spiritual
little lisp.
Yeah,
Rudyard.
And his jaw,
Rudyard.
his jag is tweaking a little bit.
Oh yeah,
of
bro.
Alexander the Great's conquest of the Persian Empire.
Okay,
You just destroyed the thing that...
Rudyard is now claiming that he has eclipsed the accomplishments of Alexander the Great. That's what Rudyard's claiming right now.
You have a
Tremble,
Sir,
mortal.
you have a YouTube channel. Okay?
Sir.
Like you're a YouTuber.
Sir, put the geopolitical videos in the bag, sir.
blocked your civilization from psychic energy. Rudyard, who the are you? You are the first mortal I know of who did this.
So Odin, Odin, the All-Father, said to Rudyard, "Who the fuck are you?" Like, I don't like. Okay, does anybody else's version of Odin use profanity like that?
Yeah.
Who the f art thou, Rudyard?
Who the God, now.
Who the f even are you, Rudyard?
Do you know who I
Odin
am?
tremble before you. Yeah,
That
bro
really-
thinks he's Kratos. Like, he's God of War.
Okay, that's proof that they were just taking clips. Would make sense, because like it's so crazy and so insane to even try to watch the whole biography like the way I did. That it is just easier to find all the crazy stuff, cut it out, cut those out, make it into a video or format them in individual clip, and then just go over it rather than just watching the whole thing, which would kill you. That's almost 10 hours, and if you try to stream that, it's probably be like a good 20-30 minute stream, probably like altogether, just to get through the mess that it is with its
Shit. He's
stuff.
slaying gods in quick time event battles, like in fucking
Like
what's
God
that
of War.
game,
That's what it's
bro,
like.
for
Like you think he's like a
PS2,
God of
Shadow
War
of
character. He's like he
Colossus.
thinks he's
Fuck.
Kratos.
He's in Shadow of Colossus, bro.
Really means something. I can't overstate that. You know, Rudyard, I keep running the simulation until cool stuff happens, which is my motivational system. But what you did
Okay,
is
What?
so
Wait.
So, like,
Odin's
okay.
running simulations over and over?
Yeah, so in Rudyard's version of reality, we are all in a simulation that Odin is running. And Odin, the only reason he runs the simulation is to see what cool shit happens. Like he's on Mythbusters and he's blowing shit up.
He's like playing The
And-
Sims and trying it over, like loading his file, like trying to see what he can do, and like he's loading.
ridiculous. I need to stop the game to show the public. What this young man did is so innately incredible. I am literally stopping.
Wait. So Odin is running a simulation like Sims over and over, but one of the Sims like broke the fourth wall, so he had to pause the game and go, "Wait, this
is crazy. I've never seen this happen. So, like, we have to imagine. So, in his version of the universe, Odin is like a sweaty fucking virgin nerd at his gaming computer, like jerking off and smoking pot. And then when he's like super fucking stoned, something crazy happened in the game that never happens. Whoa, dude! I gotta congratulate this NPC, man. This is some crazy shit, dude-arinos. That's apparently Odin. And as Tony Panther says, a true Christian knows that Odin is Lord of all. It all makes sense. It all adds up.
This guy found the Easter egg. This guy found the Easter egg in the game, and Odin's like, bro.
Oh, man.
He went through the wall?
The game to force you to watch it.
He used the Konami code?
Frankly given up on your society. You were too lazy and stupid. Every empire falls. It's not personal. However, what this young man did was so deranged, I am going to intervene in the most direct way possible. This young man has saved you, and you don't even realize it yet. You are the God Killer, Rudyard. This young man cut out...
You're the God Killer, Rudyard.
Actually, the most...
He saved us all. There was like demonic god forces upon the earth that were enslaving us to the left-wing agenda of George Soros. And then Rudyard, through capturing this circle in his triangle or whatever the somehow slew this demonic force that was empowering George Soros. And now all of humanity is saved through his actions.
Bro, I've in the past, like way back, I did shrooms a few times. If you took the hardest I've been on shrooms and I heard this, I'd still be like, no, stop, dude. Like, even I would be like, nah, come on. This is beyond psychedelic. This is like, I don't even know what to say. This is crazy. Let him come.
With my own experience with psychedelics, I had a lot of friends who did that kind of stuff, LSD, shrooms. You can imagine, I have had friends who've done stuff like that. I had a friend who does frog poison, where you dip a little bit of frog poison onto your skin. Not enough to kill you, but enough to induce some type of creepiness, right? Right. But my own experience has never been anything like this, where I've like, oh, yo, I'm talking to the gods, I'm talking to, no. I had friends who did, not ketamine, they did, think of the it's can't think of the psychedelic. It only lasts for like a good 5 minutes, but what my friends have told me, it feels like forever. I cannot think of the name offhand, but if you're not careful with any type of psychedelic drug, if you're not careful with anything that can induce those kind of things, a lot of the time for people who are unstable or just mentally not there, those drugs can do the opposite effect. And clearly, What If History is a good example of somebody who should not be around psychedelic, who should not be tampering with those things and should be off it. I understand that for some people, right? For some people, psychedelic can be used as a way to not cure depression, but be able to handle it as a way to resolve it, right? I have a friend. He did that for a while. He took shrooms here and there as a way to mitigate his depression, but that only worked. I think for those cases that are so small, there's not enough. I don't know if there's enough resources or enough work done on that. So don't take what I say with a grain of salt when I bring up that kind of info.
Okay, fair enough.
All that was blocking you from the spirit world. You can all access the spirit world now in a way, in a manner comparable to your ancestors.
Someone goes, "This is schizophrenia." Okay, fair enough.
No. Let's hear him out. I mean, we were all blocked. We were blocked from accessing the spirit world until Rudyard came along and slew the demonic force that was the triangle that kept us from the spirit realm. Okay. And now we can connect to the spirit realm like our ancestors. 07's for Rudyard.
Hey, I'll have what he's having.
Was blocking you from the spirit world. You can all access the spirit world now in a way.
How?
In a manner comparable to your ancestors.
Okay.
God's not dead. I can't overstate that. You just stopped calling him. You can call God now. Do you know what that means? If you're ever worried about something in your world, you can just ask God. The left was holding back your progress while claiming to do the opposite in their classic fashion.
Like the left was somehow more powerful than God, Rudyard? But now that you've slain the left's demonic triangle, we can now talk to God and the left is overthrown.
Oh, so woke is what stopped God?
It was, yeah. It was the woke mind virus paralyzed God, who's Odin, I guess.
It was DEI in video games. It would stop the Christ.
If you're ever worried about something in your world,
What If History? He's trying to become the next Godhead. He's trying to become the next Godhead. That's his real goal.
You can just ask God. The left was holding back your progress while claiming to do the opposite in their classic fashion, given that they are cut off from access to... Sorry, I need to reread this.
He has a script.
So he sat down and wrote out 11 hours.
Oh! That's even more funny. I do apologize if I'm not saying as much as I should. The problem is that, and I think these guys are running the same problem, is that, let me boost my mic up a bit. The problem is it's so much information, it's so dense, it's so compact that even trying to say anything about it, it's just like, am I on drugs? Am I on something hard? Am I tripping balls? Because it's so unreal, it's so offhand, it's so out of pocket. It's oh, it's so out of pocket. We're gonna it's so out of pocket. It's cause like you're like and we're not even done. Mind you, what they're covering, what they're doing, it's only just like not even like the whole video. It's only a portion of the third part. All the things he's saying, all the things he's mentioning, it's not even like the whole thing. It's part of that whole little section they just cover. It's part of a 4 hour dirt. It's in the third part. It's 4 hour, and he goes on his rampaging tangent of weird esoteric stuff and weird things that make no sense. There's some point when I was watching that, I'm like, I have to fast forward it or just speed up the video because it was so dense that I felt that I was dying. Sorry, I've been up for quite a bit of time. I've been up. How long have we been streaming? Well, it's almost 2 hours. 2 hour. I can go for another hour, maybe half an hour. Just be a 2.5, maybe 3 hour stream. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I just wanted to. I wanted to take a break from it because I felt that it was a little too much. Let's get back. Let's take a small break. Let's do a bit of a palate cleanse.
Dr. Zayas. What's wrong with me? I think you're crazy. Want a second opinion? You're also lazy. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Oh, Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Can I play the piano anymore? Of course you can. Well, I couldn't before. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Oh, Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Oh, get your Zayas off me, you dirty ape. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas.
Yeah, I needed a palette. I needed to change something around because I felt that the more I watched it, nope, wrong one. The more I go through that, the more I just want to jump up a cliff. Let's change it again. Let's change that again.
Do what you want, cause a pirate is free. You are
go something
a
else,
pirate. You're hard indeed. Being a pirate is a wretched thing. Do what you want, cause a pirate.
This is kind of killing me because the more I watch it, the more I'm thinking like these guys are in the same mindset where it's like, damn, this is pain. This is actual pain. Let's continue.
Hours of this shit.
Oh my
And then-
gosh.
You know, what's crazy is Rudyard actually has a manager and an editor that go through these videos. And so he sent this off to his manager and editor, and they went over this and they actually uploaded it to the channel.
What? Okay. Yeah, that was that one. All right. Oh my god.
Okay.
Bro, it's like different
So-
shirts each time, so it's like a variety of days. He's doing this. He's doing
Yeah,
this
so,
over.
no, this is a trilogy.
Okay.
So this is the story of his life, how he eclipsed Alexander the Great and Julius Caesar and Jesus Christ's accomplishments in his 23 years on the earth, told in 3 parts that are each like 3 hours and a bit long.
Okay.
So it's like longer than the
I do agree. What they're trying to say is that like he thinks that he is his like mastermind, general, tactician, strategist. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to imply. To be fair, Julius Caesar didn't really begin his campaign and his conquest of Gaul until like his 30s, 40s, right? That's an old book. I can't think of the writer offhand, who goes into the sort of the fall of the Roman Republic. It's not the British one, but it's much older writer, much older than him by at least a couple 1,100 years, who explained he goes into the Julius Caesar and explained that Julius Caesar was pretty old and was sick of health, but he still was able to conquer Gaul and shift Roman politics from the Republic to the Empire under obviously later on with Augustus, right? Uh, and again, Caesar would, by most account, was an old guy. He was in his 30s, 40ish, right? He was in that vein. He was not a young man, right? Caesar was pretty old. Alexander the Great, who was much younger than Caesar in comparison, right? Obviously, what they were dealing in their conquest was very different, right? Obviously, Alexander was conquering the ancient Greek, right? And he was fighting states that had a long history of military doctrine and naval, right? Obviously, with the Athenians, the Spartans, and so on. And then later on went against the Persian Empire, conquered them, who also have a long military history, right? Um. So what I'm trying to apply is in Julius, and obviously Alexander was really young compared, right? He was still young. I'm not saying that what if it's going to be the next Julius Caesar or Alexander in terms of military conquest and the way they shift world politics of their time. I'm not saying that, but I think if Rugger was to actually put in the time, get himself together, I would say that he can be an up and coming young politician, or at least an up and coming young political influencer around like the same level as Nick. Nick was young. Nick was like, oh, I think Nick Fuentes is close to my age than What If. So for me, and Nick Fuentes started his journey pretty young. Yeah, so he's 26, so he's only 2 years younger than me. And Nick, back 4 years ago, or 5 years ago, actually, maybe more. 5 years ago, I think that's where he really started to become popular. Obviously, he started his little thing in 2016, so he must have been like pretty young, pretty old. Right? He was really young in comparison, right? And and what I'm just trying to apply is Rugger was to put in more time, more effort, make better content, really get himself out there like Mr. Z is doing. He could be a political force around the same line of Nick Fuentes for the Zoomers, right? If he was to do that. The reason I don't think it's gonna happen is because if he still goes down his esoteric, schizophrenic talk, it's just gonna backfire on him more. It's not gonna work out for him. I think he is capable. He is young. I think he just has to fix his life towards that better general direction for him to get anywhere. Um, but we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see.
The Lord of the Rings extended trilogy. And so we've established now Rudyard was 40 times by his mom. This then gave him the mystical ability to battle and defeat a god that was holding humanity back. He spoke to Odin, who
No. When he was talking about the god, this is where I think that it's stupid because I know what they're referring to, but it's out of context. The content was that he was trying to kill the god that a lot of leftists were creating, this like progressive woke god person that in Rugger's worldview, his philosophy, his theology cannot exist or could not or shouldn't exist, right? And so in his head, he killed their false god. Like, think of it like the demiurge in Gnostic belief. So it's a little misplaced, and I don't think they know what they're talking about. That's what I'm trying to imply. What they said is, if you got the full context, what they don't have for obvious reasons, because they probably did not go through the whole 10-hour documentary, and probably just skimmed through or has somebody who was just so brain rot they just cut out the parts that would be more interesting.
Spiritual accomplishment. And now, what does Odin task the god killer to do? What is the mighty feat of glory that this man beyond Heracles might accomplish, what shall Odin task him with?
Okay.
To save humanity? What shall be his reward for slaying the woke mind virus demon?
Okay.
Well, Odin shall task him to write out a list of all the girls he jerked off to.
Odin intervened in the game, and he said, "Hey kid, if you write a list of every girl you masturbate to, I will solve every issue in your life."
Okay.
I don't. I'd say let's watch this. Let's watch the whole thing, and depending on
Pleased with
what
you,
they
my
say,
boy.
I'll give
That if
context
you
to it. I'll
submit
give some
to me
context.
a list of all women that you have masturbated to. Write them down one by one, and I shall solve all the problems of thy life, my child. And Rudyard said, "Yes, all father. I shall write down the list of masturbation." Like, wouldn't Odin have seen you masturbating to these women? Why does Odin need your FAP list? Oh, couldn't Odin have gone into Google? Like, he runs the simulation, right? So couldn't Odin go into your Google history? Or is the abilities of incognito mode beyond his comprehension?
Yeah. Well, first of all, that.
Produce thy goon list, Rudyard.
Okay. First of all, even if you believed that Odin said this to you, where would you start? You know what I mean?
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out what's on the FAP list.
Oh no. Okay, here we go.
I feel like we've built up enough connection after 6 hours that I can share stuff like this with you.
No.
And
Rudyard. So this is 6 hours deep. So we're kind of Tarantinoing this, piecing it together.
We're going Jackie Brown, right? Back
we're
forth,
six.
right?
We're 6 years into his 6 hours to his 11-hour insanity, and so now 6 hours in, he feels comfortable enough to let us know that he communicated with Odin, and Odin told him to write down a list of all the girls he masturbated to. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page with this stuff.
He pulls out a scroll and then it just rolls onto the floor and starts rolling.
All right, let's just bring this back to the beginning. Let's just let Rudyard go.
Okay.
Odin intervened in the game, and he said, "Hey kid, if you write a list of every girl you masturbate to, I will solve every issue in your life." I feel like we've built up enough connection after 6 hours that I can share stuff like this with you. And you've seen so much worse so far in this story. This is nothing compared to some of the earlier stuff with my mom. I thought it was kind of weird.
It's true. He's right.
Well,
He's right.
You know, when you compare it to being raped and waterboarded and beaten with 1,000-page books and scalding water, having to write down your goon list for Odin the All-Gooner isn't really that crazy.
The All-Gooner. Oh, the All-Gooner. That's what's hilarious. I gotta use that.
I'll do what he says. You don't understand.
Odin healed his PTSD, bro.
Wait, so his
Buddy,
mom
this
raped
is
him,
yeah.
which allowed him to speak to Odin, and Odin's like, now that she raped you and allowed you to speak to me, I'll erase that memory for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
How much I love God, both Yahweh and Odin, for healing my PTSD. You cannot understand my motivational system here.
I'm sorry, just the way he says it.
And
Just like,
he's right
what?
about that. He's right about that.
But if Odin runs the simulation, is he in a simulation that's controlled by Yahweh? How can both Yahweh and Odin coexist in this theological system? That's what I'm confused about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did it, and I was looking at the list of girls I had wanked to. I had been feeling lethargic before I started writing the list, as PTSD is a
Okay, Roger, please. I'm asking you this as a sincere favor. Will you come on the show and read us the list? Would you be so kind,
I would
Roger,
pay.
as to please?
I will pay
go on
big
the show
money. I would
and read
donate
out the list of all the women
$20
you
just to
masturbated
see
to,
that happen. To see
how much
what if
money is it gonna
history
take?
on
You
Kino
let me know.
Casino. It would be
We need to know.
hilarious.
Like, how would
Hell.
you even start that list?
If he comes
Then
if that becomes a redemption arc, I would die happy. Oh, that'd be great.
da-da-da, you're like, what do you mean?
Nasty tendency too. This might be too much information, but we're
Well, it
past
is.
that stage where
Yeah,
every
we are.
single girl on the list was white.
Wow, okay.
Hey, Scrod, you're babe.
All right, so some context about the whole masturbation. For what I understand, that happened when he was young, and I think he was just trying to cope with the fact that he was doing something. I know depending on how you want to view it biblically or not, masturbation is either a sin or not. That's something I can't. It's something that I don't know if I can even comment on, because I feel like that's something like I think it is a sin, so you should try to avoid it as much as you can. But that's something like he Roger. What if history does say that it's not a sin? Biblically speaking, it's not a sin to masturbate, which is like, are you sure about that, buddy? The olden stuff, he was just saying that. I think he was just saying that as a way for him to cope with the fact that, like, obviously, he was very traumatized as a kid, and like maybe masturbating was a weird way of coping because of how much his mom did the things he did, and his mom forced him to experience things, right? As well. Maybe when he did the ayahuasca or heavy drugs use, he probably was trying to cope with it. I think he was just trying to generally cope with all of that. Again, that's just me trying to give context. Because again, they are just going through it, and again, I'm not sure if they watched the whole biography where he does explain his reasoning for that. But I think he kind of realized how nutty and crazy that is. Alright, we've been streaming for 2 hours. I think I'm going to go a little longer. This may be like 2.5, maybe a 3-hour stream. I'm not sure. But we're going to take a small little break. streaming for 2 hours. Pretty good stream. We may go on a little longer. We may go on maybe 3 hours if we have the time. Maybe we're lucky. 4 hours. I'm not sure right now. We may jump back into this stuff. We may take a little small break offhand right now because I feel like a lot of what we're watching is very dense and you need a lot of context to kind of understand where Rugger's coming from, why he's saying the things he is, why over the last couple, I would say like the last couple months, maybe a year or more, he's been very criticized. He's been very much even I wouldn't say shunned, but he's very much has sort of been has a disdain toward people have a disdain towards him. I don't really blame people, right? Because whether you agree what he said or you don't agree of what he said, it's sort of hard to sort of like him because of the way he speaks, right? It's sort of in the same nature of vaush. Actually, we're gonna probably. I think Voss actually debated what if Israel. I mean, we're gonna watch that a little bit of that. Right.
One thing at a time.
Right. Is it? Yep. Oh. There's someone did that. Oh, that's a clip from Destiny. We're gonna probably watch that too. Again, watching that Kino Casino video, it's not bad. It's not poor. It's not made bad. I just think that they're just skimming through a lot of like the important stuff and the context of what he's saying, even if it's insane. I think they're skimming through a lot of it just so they can make content out of it. Because it's easier to do that and nitpick all the crazy stuff without understanding a lot of the background information of why he's saying it, the reasoning. And I don't blame him. I do not blame him. These guys do a show almost every other day. This is how they make their money. They're trying to be humorous, right? If they sat down and genuinely watched a 10-hour biography, they'll just be completely burnt out because though to even attempt to watch something like that is just insane. I did it, and again, I do have a video coming out today. It's been pre-recorded like almost a week ago, so I'm gonna release it today at the stream because originally I wanted to do this stream on what if history, get back into him. There will be multiple streams throughout the week where I just go in and talk about this. This won't be the last what if history thing we're gonna do. There's just more to it, right? It's probably just part one of just going through him, watching his stuff. That's because I find him interesting, right? I find him very, very interesting. Right? I think if Nick Fuentes were to do the same stuff, I think I would probably be more sympathetic and have more of a like towards him. Obviously, I don't. Again, because I'll get crap for that. I really don't like Nick too much, but this is not here or there. This is not here or there, baby.
This video is
one thing at a time.
America
I agree.
Playing off in. All right, let's get into it now.
What are policies that you think will lead us towards said anarchist utopia?
Oh, well, you're putting a big weight on my shoulders here.
I mean, you're a political thinker. It's your job.
True. Wasn't Vaush's criticism of me always like, Destiny doesn't have any solutions for anything, blah, 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 blah. I feel like he said that to me a few times. Well, let's hear him, Vaush. What are your solutions, bud?
So, I'll give a quick context. What the fuck is this shit? Fucking hell. Context. Destiny react to Vaz and Boy. What the fuck? We gotta do a whole stream on Voss. It would be freaking amazing. For anybody who don't know Voss is an anarcho-communist. Big streamer. He got popular during the whole quarantine situation. I don't like Voss, and it's funny because Vaush used to work for Destiny, and they used to stream with each other constantly. At one point, I guess Vaush was sort of based, depending on how you want to go off of that. Now they don't. It's just funny in my eyes, right? It's just funny, right? And there is more to Voss. There is clearly more to Voss. There's the whole allegation about the lolly, the whores, how he called anime fans racist, Nazis. I don't think I was supposed to say the hard N word. Who cares? But then it was revealed that you could kind of see in the background, if you know what I'm saying, that he watches lolly stuff, he's into horse stuff, and he made a whole coping thing about it. It is a long list of reasons why people do not like Vaughn or just find him to be insufferable. Right? Vosh looks like he's just an insufferable prick. I don't care if anybody here's a Vosh fan. I do not give a shit. If you want to cope and see about me calling him an insufferable prick, which is true, and talking about this debate, what if history, somebody I know asked Mr. Z. Mr. Z and what if history don't like each other, right? He asked Mr. Z about his opinion on this, the debate, and from what I was told was Mr. Z was kind of smirking throughout the video and kind of laughing, because what if history thinks he's a grand debater or grand thinker, and this debate kind of show he really isn't. Even if, and I haven't watched the debate proper, so this is my first time. I'm gonna assume that I may end up agreeing with what if history more, but because of the way he's trying to present his point, comes off really, really dumb.
It is a different history. It is
Oh
a
my
different
God!
governing system.
Yes, I agree.
So why
they're
is all of
different
that being
countries?
compressed down to racism?
I agree. Wait, hold on. Calm down.
You said that the
You're
only
very. Oh
definition you
my
could
God!
use
Please.
were different. Hi.
Hello.
You hear me? How you doing?
I'm doing wonderfully. How about you?
I'm doing pretty well. Can't complain. I'm sorry about the delay. There were some technical problems, and I did one debate, I did one kind of Zoom YouTube interface like this before, but there was a glitch in my software, and so we had to figure it out. But I'm sorry I left you all waiting. I know you've been going for a bit of time.
Oh, ain't nothing. We were talking about cartoons the whole time. It was great.
Nice. Yeah, it's interesting. I think you could write a couple very interesting books on what cartoons symbolize in society, and like another big YouTuber, JJ McCullough, did a whole.
You could like Boss is like, the fuck are you talking about? You can just look at his eyes of like, oh, this is gonna be a fun debate. You can just tell that in his eyes, like, you know what? I'm gonna go wreck this boy's day.
List of Canadian monster cartoons, and I thought that was a very funny book.
Yeah, well, any excuse to see, people punching holes through mountains or, shooting lasers out of their eyes. I just like it when it looks flashy.
Exactly.
I appreciate you hopping on.
Of course.
So I had a couple of questions. I don't formally structure anything, but I watched your video on social justice and a few videos later after that, and I had a couple of questions, concerns that I wanted to talk about with you.
Okay.
So I understand you mostly do historical content, which is not my field of expertise. I can't comment on it that substantively. But I do know that you've gotten some pushback for what you've put in those videos. And looking at your social justice video, I think I might understand a common trend. The main issue being, at least with regards to the social justice video, it feels like you came into that with a fairly strong pre-existing ideological bias, and all the information you had on all the many subjects that you touched on in that video, you pulled them together to narrativize them into a story consistent with your pre-existing beliefs. Like you looked up at the stars and you wanted to see a dinosaur, and it didn't really matter what the stars looked like. You had to find the dinosaur in the constellation.
What?
You know what I mean? So there were like a bunch of pieces of info there that I think were contradictory or didn't fit together that well, and it gave me the impression altogether that you were inconsistently reactionary in ways I wanted to talk about.
I disagree. So, as I've studied history, being fair and objective isn't giving 50-50 to both sides. Being fair and objective is looking for the truth and seeing where the truth leads you. And across history, you see periods of fanaticism. And we see a lot of the prerequisites for periods of fanaticism that exist today. And across history, you saw the French Revolution, you saw the religious fanaticism like the Puritans of the 17th century, you saw the Spanish Inquisition. Before that, you saw the flagellants after the Black Death, or guys that would basically whip themselves after the Black Death because they felt guilt, that they felt immense survivor's guilt they were still alive. And before that, you had all sorts of things across the ancient world and peasant rebellions in the Middle Ages as well. And the common thread between all of these is that when times get tough like they are now, where basically average income has gone down, a lot of people live really hard lives in a lot of ways. And under those conditions, people get radicalized. And I think social justice is that radical movement. And I try to build my work for posterity. And because of that, I cannot stand aside when social justice, I think, is a radical movement, and to give it an objective opinion would be to state thus. And so
The chat is
my
even
argument
cooking
going
him.
into it
The
was
chat is
that
even
social
cooking him.
justice is radical, which I will prove as this debate goes along.
Let me say something. Social justice, especially back when it was a thing around the mid 2000s, was radical. It was sort of this pinnacle. It was sort of the birth of what we saw with the wokeness, right? The woke came from the social justice, the radicalism, especially among like late millennials and early Zoomers, 100%, and some like obviously like mid and early millennials as well. But it mostly was came from the SJs who were around my age, very young, very late millennials. Obviously, they were young, but they come from the late millennial part, like so, like anywhere between either between the 1990s and 1996, which is what's considered late millennial or mid millennial, right? And a lot of those people who ended up becoming SJW, and after a period of time, SJW evolved into what we consider wokeness. Now, the problem with the word social justice is that the word actually comes from Catholic belief. It came from a Catholic priest from the 1920s who used the word very differently. And I think what ended up happening was a lot of leftists just co-opt the word social justice because it had a nice sounding ring, right? Because if you say, "Oh, we're here for social justice," it has a nice ring to it, right? So they co-opted the word from that priest from the 1920s, who was anything but left wing. If anyone ever played Hearts of Iron, Kaiserreich Redux, or just Kaiserreich mod, they know who I'm talking about, particularly who developed the word social justice. It didn't. It does come from Catholic beliefs, right? Not necessarily like, oh, Catholic or left. It's far from that, unless you're, obviously if you're like a hardline Protestant, like a hardline, warm-blooded Protestant, then yeah, you would think anyone that's not American Protestantism, it will be leftist in your eyes. Obviously, no. Social justice is something that is developed within Catholicism, and again, I think what ended up happening was a lot of leftists, whether they were Catholic or not, I don't think it mattered. They just took the word social justice from the priests as a way to make them sound good. And social justice, or SJW, they're probably trying to refer to was something with the phenomenon of the 2010s. It was something, especially the early to mid 2010s, that I witnessed evolve and become wokeness later on. What happened in my timeline, to me, that is, I don't know what the right word. To me, that is the complete shell shock of an experience when I look back at it. Most people who talk about wokeness don't realize that stuff has been around with the SJW. Is that that the SJWs would be viewed as very moderate, very like tame to the wokeness, right? And the wokeness from 10 years ago, because we're in 2025, so I'll be referring to 2015. Wokeness would have been viewed as very, very extreme radical social justice, which was something people saw but didn't think about it. And obviously, Bread 2 becoming what it is ended up pushing that narrative more, and that's helped push wokeness, right? That element of the social justice that was radical got took it from the Bread 2 version and they just pushed it down the line.
But at the same time, I just wanted to make something that posterity would be able to look back upon, where every single era of history, you have the people who basically say, we need to give both sides argument. And the truth is complicated. And because of that, you see all sorts of, no one side can hold the truth because no single worldview is capable of encapsulating it. But like before World War II, you saw people who thought that starting the war was not a good idea. Before World War I, you saw people who thought that war would never happen. And in every era of history, conventional opinion was wrong. And I want to look for when conventional opinion is wrong.
So the term radical doesn't really have a consistent definition, but the way you use it suggests to me that you think it has a negative...
I think he's wrong. I think Voss is wrong. The word radical has a use and it's consistent. In a sense, I can't really explain this properly. Radical has a reason. It stopped being radical once it becomes something implemented within the system. That's when it stopped being radical, right? So, like, let's say if you're a communist in Sweden, which is very liberal, social, obviously it's a social democratic liberal system. If you're a communist or a fascist, it's going to be viewed radical until your system becomes the ruling system of the nation or of the state of the people. That's when it stopped, but it still is radical, right? Even when it's first being implemented, it will still be radical. So I think Voss is wrong.
If you're going to argue that social unrest is often caused by inequality or tumult, then I would agree with that. You could go back to the suffrage movement, the civil rights movement. You could go back to the abolitionist movement or the Revolutionary War. You could go back as far as you wanted. And yeah, generally, when things are a little bit less steady, people too tend to commit harder to more radical ideas. I guess the problem that I have with the framing in your video is that that's a good thing, at least in the context of the movements we're discussing now. I don't care about 50-50 representation for any given talking point.
Mind you, Voss is a leftist, anarcho-communist. So he's just going to have a natural disagreement with What If because he is in my opinion, he is a very right-wing liberal who's in that very thin middle line. And so they are very opposite, right? They have very opposite opinions. They are very much, they will fight and not contradict, but they will always be at each other's throat. Obviously, Voss holds some Marxist ideas, but it's not saying it's ridiculous to hold to Marxism. At least he's not a Marxist-Leninist. He's not LARPing as that. I think he knows better that ideology, the second position, is dead. Where obviously, like Rugged is LARPing as far right, even though he's a liberal right winger, and he's a capitalist, but then like would not do anything to combat the capitalist system because he's a liberal. You know what I'm referring to.
By the way, I only care about what's right. You very specifically designate some types of social justice in your YouTube video as exempt from your criticism. Basically, the civil rights movement. And back before then, also environmentalism.
I'd like to cut you off there for a second, please.
Sure.
In your video, you said the civil rights movement and the...
I sort of do agree with this comment. Radical just means it's anti-state, it's cool, not good or bad inherently. That is true. That is technically true. But to the state itself, or to the status quo, radicalism is considered bad. But depending on... not even that it's... well, not bad. Depending what it is, right? So again, let's say a bunch of radicals in China want more open capitalism. That's a threat, and that's considered bad because the system in China is common with socialism with Chinese characteristics. So that would be inherently bad. But then let's say let's say, what if there's a radical movement in China that wants neo-Confucianism, but they still want to keep Chinese socialism with Chinese characteristic, that would be viewed as good or more neutral because, well, they still adhere to what the CCP is saying. They just want more Confucianist thinking. So I do kind of agree on what that comment said. But like a historical men still that want to change the foundation of society. So, sir, I'm a radical. Yeah, I would say the French Revolution. Yeah, it was very cringe, but it sort of did bring on liberalism and the birth of industrialization to what we see it now through Napoleon later on. It's social justice as long if it's not Catholic or what it originally meant. It's not based and it's cringe. You should Minecraft yourself.
Abolitionist movement were descendants of are the ancestors of social justice, which is not true. Social justice is an entirely different historic chain that you see start in the 40s to the 90s, basically.
No. Social justice is something that's you find it mostly in Catholicism. I don't know. He has a spiritual fedora, kind of. Yeah, they both do that. I think vaush it's an atheist. If he's a Protestant, that would not be shocking. I'd just be like, well, all right. Social justice is an older system that has been embedded within Catholicism. Again, referring to the priest, even if it was not given that name, it's still there. To me, it's just stupid. Because you got these two idiots who are trying to use the word social justice. If I were to use it in its context and the way the church would use it, I would probably be more right. Him saying that the abolitionists came from social justice, it's like, I guess so, not really. That's more complicated than it is.
Post-war period, and that's a long period, but it did take a bit of time to evolve. So,
I'd like to challenge you on that.
No.
Sorry?
How? The civil rights movement was in the 60s,
please, let me
of course, so
finish.
that would fit within that time range.
I love how you did.
The civil rights period, it was entirely different groups of people. When you look at the logic of the modern social justice movement, it takes ideas that were invented by former Marxists in the post-war period.
No.
Two broad groups. The Frankfurt.
They co-opt the word social justice from the Catholic Church. Fucking hell, these people are just stupid.
School and French philosophers.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, the idea that gender can be separated from sex, that's an idea that hasn't existed for any other period of history except with Simone de Beauvoir starting in the early 50s. And then that idea was taken up by other philosophers like Judith Butler, like Foucault. And so the idea that gender
and then later
is
on John
separate
Money.
from sex.
Well, one
again,
day I'll do a stream on
So
John Money.
This is what I mean. Wait.
John Money is an interesting person. He deserves a whole stream to himself. I will maybe tomorrow or maybe later if we do a midnight stream, we'll do John Money. We may actually do a John Money stream. Maybe not. John Money is an interesting fellow. If you want to know where a lot of these gender ideas and gender belief things came from, you can trace it back to John Money and those people. Obviously, the Frankfurt School is a good example of people like to use that as the genesis of social justice, even though in reality it was a long process that was either co-opted or certain ideas were inherited, right? From whether it be philosophy or religious. But this is not here
wait,
now.
hold on. Don't, because I don't want you to just go ahead and say a bunch of wrong things.
Yeah, no, but I'd
first
like
of
to get
all,
my point
the civil.
wait. You cannot construct my argument properly unless you hear it.
Well, but so far the construction is faulty. The concrete is cracking. The civil rights movement was informed by Marxist ideas. Marx was around like it absolutely was.
No. Neither of them are right, at least in this context. Or maybe I could be wrong. I think what Watt is trying to apply that the civil rights movement had things that were inherited in Marxism, or at least some of their ideas are Marxist in some belief. If he's trying to apply that, then that makes sense. unless he's trying to refer at the Civil War and that the civil rights movement actually started in the Civil War. The guy's a freaking idiot. God damn it.
The basis of critical theory, the idea that you should analyze. Well, don't get indignant already. It certainly was. Marxist social analysis has been influencing philosophers and activists for well over a century, and the conceptualization of gender and sex being, as you say,
so that's what he's
uniform.
That's what Vaush is referring to. That what he was trying to imply is that the civil rights started with Marx, which is Marx's opinion on certain ethnic groups and certain racial group. I don't know if you really want to die on that hill, Vaush. I don't know if you really want to die on a hill. And watching this debate, it's giving me terminal brain rot. I feel like the more I watch this debate, the more I'm just going to be like, no, you're wrong. Or you're right, but let me explain. You could also be wrong. Again, he's just trying to say that the civil rights started with Marx. I doubt it. I doubt Marx would actually give a shit. Like, if you want my honest opinion, I doubt Marx would give a shit, bar from him wanting to take the capitalist system down. But that's not here or there. All right, let's move back to Kino Casino, and then we're probably how far we are in our streaming. We're we're 2.5 hours. I may stream for another 30 minutes, and then we'll call it quits.
So every woman on the list was white.
Bring it up.
That wasn't satisfactory enough for me. So I dug further into the insanity of Rudyard, and I found further description of which women Rudyard jerked off to on the list. And what we're going to find out is Rudyard is a sicko. Okay. Rudyard is one weird duck.
Okay.
He's one creepy guy, bro.
Really? You don't say.
And I'm only really attracted to white girls. I also find innately disgusting. Remember, I do have empathic abilities where I can look at the girl and then figure out her mental state. And
Stop. Rudyard is like the porn wizard. He's like Neo in the Matrix. He's the whisperer. So when he's watching his fucking porno, he's able to read the mind of the woman in the porn. And if the woman in the porn isn't happy and wholesome, he can't jerk off to it.
Captain
His dick gets soft.
Goonception.
Figure out what she's about, and they're all clearly addicted and really depressed, and I find it really sad to watch. I don't know how you folks enjoy this or find this fun.
So Rudyard doesn't know how people jerk off to like normal porn that they see, you know. He's not like you mere plebeians.
I don't. Again, there's some context is missing. I think he not that he doesn't understand. I think he just doesn't understand why do you continue to jerk off. I think that's what I remember he was applying to. He was implying that why you keep doing this when it's it's unhealthy. It's not something you should be doing. Again, the Kino Casino guys are just freaking idiots.
In the erotica that he likes to goon too. But what he does is
No. From what I understand, Roger does his best to avoid. Stupid. It's just so fucking stupid. The more I watch, the more I get pissed off.
Like 1920s and 30s, or like it's like this like weird fucking black and white porn from like 80 fucking years ago, and he jerks off to like Roman statues and shit like this. This is crazy. He's a man of culture and refinement.
Yo,
I see.
When he watches, this is the music.
This is why he was banned from the museum. Yes.
Oh, there, Shirley. You're gonna get in the ass there, huh? Oh, I like
that. Again, if they actually went through and watched the video. The biography, I really do apologize if I keep pausing. It's just annoying. It's just sort of like, it's a lot of it. Maybe later on they realize their mistake and realize, okay, maybe we shouldn't be like this. he's into more obscure heavy metal. He's admitted that he's into heavier metal like Sabaton, Man of War. Probably he's into Fire, Rhapsody, and all that kind of cool metal music, right? That I like. I like. I feel like the more I watch it, they are trying to pick out what's funny so they can have a good time, but the context of it is lost just for the sake of content, and because of that, it's kind of hard and really
He's the
annoying. But we're gonna keep
intellectual
going through.
Gooner, buddy.
Form irresistible, and thus I keep nude art around my house alongside my collections of artisanal leather, antique maps, and Chinese watercolor. I try to only use
Oh my god!
Watercolor?
I don't.
And thus
I
keep nude art around my house alongside my collections of artisanal leather.
Artisanal leather? What the f is artisanal? Buddy,
He's beating
the
up.
bro. Oh.
That's kind of hard to watch.
Bro, I want to see, like, what does he have? This is one of the creepiest things I've ever heard anyone say, isn't it? He keeps, like, tasteful nude artworks around his home near his artisanal leather and Chinese watercolor painting.
To be fair, a lot of people who have money or are very much artists or stuff like that do have some type of nudity. Like obviously, like the birth of Venus. I'm thinking of. Is it birth of Venus? I'm thinking of the old Greek picture of the old ancient Greek. I can't think of the goddess name offhand. Yeah, you know what I'm referring to. You know what I'm referring to. I think what Raj, I think in the video he explained because to him that's more appealing, that's more sexually appealing than like just going in and watch pornography, where it's just like, I think he would, and I think a lot of people would say you're kind of cutting yourself if you watch pornography. What? Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think he was just trying to apply that like he'd rather like if he had to nut, he'd rather just do it to paintings of a naked woman where it shows more of where it's more expressional or it's showing the beauty of humanity rather than something that is more based on lustful needs. Not saying the painting can't be, but it's more probably. I guess if I have to pick one of the other, I think that would be no. It would not be better.
Oh yes, I'm an intellectual. Only the finest and tasteful nudes for my gooning.
And I won't deny, I think PPP what he's saying, it does come off like that.
Oh, Chinese watercolors. Jerome, fetch me the fart glass.
Antique maps and Chinese watercolor. I try to only use images of women who seem happy and psychologically stable. I really like it when there's nature in the background. This actually stems, and this is seeing a pair of tits just won't kill you. You do have...
Again, there's a cutout of that, so they cut out that important information. So that kind of does prove my point that they're just cutting shit out to make it's really ridiculously
to be responsible for your own sexual
sad.
desires.
Okay, pause.
Sex.
What he's saying sounds so fucking gay. He sounds. I don't know how else to say
goon
it.
folder.
He just saw the art of gooning. Like the guy's like, seeing a pair of tits won't kill you, Charlotte. Like, bro, the fucking list and the creepy way he's saying this, like, he's gay.
Goonshine.
Itself is pretty
Imagine sobering up after this. What did I do?
Bro, when you look back at this, he must just have fucking absolutely just died. Oh, man. Now there's a warning from Odin. You shall not make fun of Rudyard, or Odin shall smite thee.
This young man is a hero among heroes. Your society has treated him like utter garbage. This is why your people are dying.
Is he Joker? He's Arthur Fleck. Society treated him like trash, and now Odin will empower him for his revenge.
He's Joker in Joker 3 if he made it.
Yeah, this is Joker 3, buddy.
Judge the health of a people and a nation based off how they treat their heroes. If you are mean to this young
Odin gets what he fucking deserve.
Get ready for this. If you are mean to this hero, what's gonna happen if we're mean to this hero, chat? Let's find out.
All right.
And from now on, you are cursed. We will explain in the next segment what that means. Please have some respect. Treat him like a fucking person. That's the only thing we ask.
Right.
Don't hurt Rudyard for these messages. He's just a person we raped and whose life we hijacked.
Okay.
And he tries to...
So now it's revealed that Odin raped Rudyard. So Odin and the rest...
Repeat that.
Let's go, Felton, etc.
What's going to happen if we're mean to this hero, chat? Let's find out.
All right.
And from now on, you are cursed. We will explain in the next segment what that means. Please have some respect. Treat him like a fucking person. That's the only thing we ask.
Right.
Don't hurt Rudyard for these messages. He's just a person we raped and whose life we hijacked.
Okay.
And he tries to...
So now it's revealed that Odin raped Rudyard.
I'm not gonna.
So
defend him
Odin
in this
and the
one.
rest.
You know what? I want to let this one burn on him. Because
Let's go, Felton, etc.
Odin and the rest of the Norse pantheon bent Rudyard over and raped him, which cured him from the PTSD of being raped by his mother somehow, and then enabled him to be the savior of all mankind.
Every time he says a sentence, I hear this in my head.
Loki, no!
I just hear...
do the right thing.
You might be wondering how we got here.
If you don't like...
Hi, that's me, Rudyard. You might be wondering how I got...
this, blame Odin, not him. He's just the messenger. I hope that even if you don't agree with his views, you can respect his courage, intellect, honor, and character. The God Killer is yours. I saw your story needed a hero, I gave you one. I ran the simulation 1 million times so you'd get a God Killer. Rudyard just happened to be the guy who ended up there.
It's so larpy. It's so larpy. It's not even funny because I'm reliving my experience of that whole thing again when I first watched the biography. It's not even funny. It's painful. I can't even defend him. Like honestly, once I got into the third part, I couldn't defend him. I could not defend him one bit. I couldn't. It's so batshit insane. If he would have cut out the third part, it would have been a lot better of a stream, but it didn't. Not stream, better part, or better biography.
Man, so he just did his duty. Enjoy your God Killer responsibly. He's yours. Have some fun when you're at it. I like this kid a lot.
It's just like a fucking what is it? A Dos Equis commercial. Enjoy your God Killer responsibly. Like it's a beer commercial. Come on, man. How do you responsibly enjoy the God Killer? Like, what does that mean? Does it mean you have to bend him over with diameter like Odin and his mom so that, like, must we Rudyard that his magic abilities abound? Is this what we're being taught or told? Like, I don't know.
Please be nice to him. Argue all you want, debate all you want. I just can't stand rudeness in underhanded or dishonorable tactics. Any government or organization which
okay, I gotta ask, like, if he is a God Killer, what sort of dishonorable tactics could possibly undermine his might? If he was able to slay a god, what could mere mortals and governments do against the magic of Rudyard? Why is he worried about being made fun of if he has these abilities?
Right? Yeah.
God Killer harasses him in public or his friends or his family or in his home will be destroyed and cursed by the tree of life within a single day.
He smote a triangle. We're going to be cursed by the tree of life, buddy?
I think that's an Elden Ring plot. I think that's part of Elden Ring. That's a side quest. That's a side quest to unlock.
They got a point, though. They do got a point.
He doesn't want to hurt you or cause any trouble.
This is the expansion. This is the DLC.
Oh, man.
No reason to test
to test this. Just leave him alone.
Holy okay.
Oh man, okay. This is our longest clip yet.
Okay.
And this is Rudyard explaining his contract with the gods.
What
Okay.
that say?
Okay.
There was a
I'm
contract.
gonna take a small little break. We'll be right back in a little bit. Gentlemen, don't go anywhere. So we've been streaming for a good 3 hours, close to 3 hours. Actually, I'm gonna try to make it to 3 hours. Which wasn't really exactly my. I mean, it was my plan to stream either between 2 or 3 hours. So we will be hitting that mark soon. I think we're not sure we're gonna go back and rewatch that, or I'm gonna find something else that's a lot to kill the remaining time slot I have. We will come back to this at a different day, maybe like Wednesday, or maybe like we do a midnight stream or a morning stream where we go back and obviously finish these videos off. Apology, everybody. I've been up for quite a bit of time because I mostly slept yesterday, and then I decided to get more sleep today. So personally, I am a little tired. But we'll probably get some sleep. I'll take a quick nap. I'll probably take a quick nap in a little bit after we're done streaming, because I think I deserve that much. But to what I was trying to imply, or what I was trying to say is, for the most part, I'm not saying that what they're doing is bad. I'm not saying that what they're trying to say is bad. I just think that they're jumping all around and they're missing a lot of context to what Roger is saying, even if it comes up insane, right? Because he tried to explain it, right? What if history tried to explain why he thinks like that, why his mind is like that, why his life is screwed up. I do think that a lot of it is due to him. The reason why he's saying a lot of these weird, obscure facts is mostly because he, but you know, he had a very rough childhood, and a lot of people who goes through that have to, you know, how can I really say this? How can I say this? I think he's trying to cope with that, and because of that, sorry for if I'm making it up now. I think because of that, he's trying to live with it. Now, do I personally think, do I think this video do I think what they're doing is a bit distasteful? A little bit. We haven't completed it through, so maybe in the end they realize what they're doing, what they're saying is not right, and maybe they had to cut out things because it was kind of insensitive or just a little ridiculous. Wouldn't surprise me. And truthfully, like, I feel like I can't blame him for that. Especially Annie Worski, who has a bit of a history with politics. So maybe to him, it's just giving him flashback with JF and a lot of those people, or even with somebody with like Ethan Ralph. So I don't blame if if Annie or PPP, or particularly Annie, is just like trying to get through it and not try to relive that experience. I won't blame him or hold that against him. I really don't. And as I said, just to really sit down and watch all of that video just so you could like enjoy it is hard. It is very hard to watch a 10-hour biography without feeling like you're losing your mind, or without you feel like you're about to end it all in Minecraft, right? It's very hard. It's a very hard thing to do. And I don't blame them. They're busy. They have a lot of things they have to do. They have a lot of things they have to go through. A lot of things and so for them, it's a lot more. And again, what if history has a long story history where there is more to him than what we're witnessing? So ultimately, trying to cover it is not going to be easy for them. Sorry again if I'm yelling a lot. I'm sorry. I'm going to go back into the debate video a little bit. Oops, sorry. Just
Until the past 50 years is completely ahistorical. There are entire modern civilizations that have had third genders, clearly not three sexes, three genders, for hundreds of years. That's just simply not true.
Fact check.
But even if there were conceptualizations of modern social justice, which are a product of postmodernism exclusively, I wouldn't have an issue with that.
It isn't.
You'd have to demonstrate the harm done by those ideas.
Give me a hot second, because I'm going to reply to each of those. So for the first of them, the social justice movement didn't have ties to, sorry, Freudian slip that I'm sure you wanted me to have. The civil rights movement didn't have Marxist ties because that was something that the FBI explicitly looked for. And people really, really tried to attach a Marxist label onto Martin Luther King.
It is true that Martin Luther King had tied. There was a Marxist. He was a socialist. Like, he even wrote, like, how in his, I think it was his thesis. I think he is a Protestant. In his thesis, his religious thesis paper, I think he denied the divinity of Christ. This is very ridiculous. Like, that makes you borderline non-transcendental, and even like something else. It makes you heretical. But no, like, there are civil rights movement leaders who have tied to Marxist belief. The FBI are probably trying to cover that up for their own reasons. But like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. Now, I would say that the question is, were they socialists or were they Marxists because that's what they prefer, or were they Marxists because it was against the status quo? Because there's always something that always got me not triggered but interested. Like, it's somebody that because it's anti-status quo, like a punk person, or is it because that's what they genuinely believe? I think for someone like Martin Luther, Malcolm X, I think they were socialists. Same with Black Panther, they were socialists or Marxists because it was anti-liberal American way, rather than anything else. That's what it was to them, and I think that's why even though they were like, Black Panthers were very nationalist, Malcolm X was very racially nationalist. I guess so much flag for that one, or just from YouTube. And obviously, MLK had a very different opinion on that.
But he kept very clear from it. And
he wasn't a Marxist.
Yeah, and much of the movement led by him did not have a lot of Marxist philosophy, because if
MLK
they found a Marxist attachment to it,
he was a socialist. Like, I don't know where the idiot would think that he wasn't. Like,
federal government and racist
clearly was. I think he did his best to separate Marxism from what he was trying to do, because, but don't be surprised it's revealed later on, like, oh, well, there is Marxist tones, right? But then you can also make the case that it could have been a liberal progressive tone too. So it could have gone both ways.
At the time would have just used it to pillory the movement, and so it explicitly kept away. And it didn't really come from Marxist roots, because
Yeah. King was a Christian socialist. Which,
If you look
I'm not
at
getting
the
into that
liberation
one.
movements of that period of history, they came mostly from a liberal background. So full male suffrage, that was something that started in the early 19th century and progressed as male suffrage is tied to the amount of your male population that fought in the military. And so that came through liberals across the 19th century. And
Mind you, but also because a lot of the guarantee of rights for like peasants were being dwindled away through the middle class, and a lot of the middle class and a lot of people who were farmers were now in the city who were taking up like factories and white collar jobs as because there was less need farmers, there were less needs of welders and not welders, blacksmiths and all that, right? There was a less need for them. So men, all full male suffrage, it's kind of needed because well, you have all these guys who are gonna probably will end up joining the military for many of them at the way to rise up the ranks and up into social mobility.
And it continued into the early 20th
There's a reason
century.
for that.
With the suffragette movement, suffragettes were mostly upper middle class women who again came from a liberal mindset. And when you look at liberalism, it's the idea that all people have equal worth and the equal worth under the law. And liberalism is a philosophy that's in many ways derived from Christianity and thus under the objective legal eye of God. And that's just not the philosophy for Marxism.
Even Vaush is like,
okay, wait, I have
was
to
infiltrated by Marxists.
Wait, hold on, I have to interject here. I never said the civil rights movement was infiltrated by Marxists. I said that his ideas and the ideas of the civil rights movement were influenced by Marxist philosophy, which they were. Liberal philosophers, liberal political thinkers were influenced.
Liberalism is from Christianity. What? It is. Liberalism is something that really developed mostly in Protestant nations. That's why like England, Germany were very liberal. It really came from more of a different branch of Protestantism than anything else. Like you cannot deny liberalism is from it is and isn't. A lot of the core elements of it can be traced back to some element of Christianity, particularly Protestantism. Saying it isn't is really stupid. Liberalism is from the Enlightenment. Oh my, no. Because the issue with the Enlightenment and liberalism, what the Enlightenment believed in the Enlightened despot, they believed in the power of the absolute king and of the state, where liberalism was against that. Even Marx even himself stated that liberalism was sort of against the Enlightenment thing. Anybody should know that now. That's not the it was used as the talking point from a lot, and I'm not gonna deny that there were and stuff from liberalism that came from the Enlightenment. I'm not gonna deny that. Same thing with fascism, same thing with communism. A lot of their things came from Enlightenment eras. But a lot of them also attacked the Enlightenment for its thinking, the mentality developed, but was very focused on the centralized power of the king. An absolute king, absolutism, right?
Influenced by what Marx wrote, because Marx was, well, he wasn't the only person who did this, certainly, but it's been mostly attributed to him, the ideas inherent to critical theory. Now, critical theory these days is taught to liberals and by liberals.
Also, Hegel, wait, I think this guy, MLK was from a radical Christian root, embracing the spiritual fever of the early church. I'm going to disagree on that, because the issue was, MLK did not believe in the divinity of Christ. He loved Hegel. I would not know if Martin Luther King read Hegel. He wasn't a Marx, but there is a connection of a hidden thread connecting the two, a radical Christian and a ZZ loves to talk about in Hegel. No, King he was influenced by socialist beliefs, especially Marxist. Even if you wanted to make the case that he was influenced by socialism, but not Marxist socialism, then I could see the case for that. Obviously he was more of a radical Protestant, because in saying radical Christian can mean like, well, he's Catholic, like a trad cat, or a militant Orthodox, right? Spiritual fever from the earth. I could sort of agree with that, because the Pentecostal movement would come from the 50s and 60s, which is I have no disdain, or I don't dislike the Pentecostals. I have family of the friends who are Pentecostals. I've never really had a bad experience with them. They do have the early spiritual fever of the early church to some extent, and not to the extent, but to some extent. He loved Hegel. I don't know if Emil Key read Hegel. That I don't know. But if he did, I really doubt they would agree, given that um, Hegel is a fucking headache to read. Extremely dense just to get through just what he's trying to do. But that isn't here now. Maybe one. That's another thing we can go into Hegelian. But I'm gonna be honest. I have not read Hegel proper. I've spoken to people who read Hegel and who really got into it. Some of the writers I do like have spoken about Hegel. So for me, I would be doing a dishonor and I would be doing a bad job to talk about Hegel. I will only reason I'm talking about him now is because I doubt Ellen K read Hegel. But I think that's it. I think we're gonna end it off here. We've been streaming for 3 hours, the longest I've ever streamed. I liked it. I like the thing we cover a lot more. I think I'm gonna cover more of this stuff. Their debates, more to the Kino Casino stuff. I liked it. I like a lot of it. It's just I think that Kino Casino guys are just maybe later on that video they do a better service to Rudget and the debate between Voss and maybe I'll probably gonna watch it on my own time and then I'll commentary on how I feel. But I think that their debate is just them bickering on who is morally right, ethically right, who why the word social justice is bad, who isn't a mar. It's just them bickering. Even though I think if Rugger was more leftist, he probably would end up agreeing with Voss more. It's just they would disagree on how society should be transformed and the economics, which is always going to be their clear distinction. I would even say I wouldn't be surprised years ago if What If History was more, I think if What If History was a little older, and didn't start his career a little later, he probably would have been a former fan of Vaush. I do think that much, right? With that saying, I hope you guys like the stream. I know it's a little different than what I did the last couple of streams. Mind you, I've been awake for a little bit. I've been awake for a good 8 hours. I'm probably gonna take a nap. Around 10 or between either 10 or 11, I'm gonna release that. It's a 30-minute long video. I had it done for almost a week now. I wanted to upload it Friday, but other things came up. It will be again 30-minute long video, a little bit more of me going through individual parts of the biography. I actually sat down and watched it like a madman because I hate myself sometimes. But again, I hope you guys like this. There will be more streams throughout the week. Maybe I'll do a midnight stream tonight. Maybe I'll do a morning stream tomorrow. I'll see how things are. I'll play. If I do a midnight stream, it's not going to be a long one. It's probably going to be a good hour and a half at the most. We're probably going to look at some spooky stuff. And, go from there. So with that saying, I hope everybody had a good morning. I'm sure I did. I hope everybody is safe. I hope your workday goes great if you're watching this. And if, just hope you have a good day. It was a nice chill back stream. I know I'm a lot more energetic. I try to make jokes or try to laugh more. In this case, I couldn't because I feel like maybe I'm too emotionally invested in this stuff. But with that saying, thank you all again. Thank you for watching, liking, subbing. Let's keep going on. And with that, finally, have a good day. God bless. Kill the cute. Whatever. Outro time. Boop.